1, and we should be live. Let us know in the chat if the audio works. Everyone wave ever so slightly. Hello, everyone. Hello, and welcome to this very special live stream of What Am I Rolling, which is a twice-monthly tabletop RPG one-shot podcast right here on the OneShot podcast network Twitch channel. Try saying that when you've had a stressful morning. Hope you're all doing well in your little part of the world, and thank you so much for joining this actual play stream of Prequel, a tactical storytelling game of heroic sacrifice created by Ethan Yen and James Quigley, who is in the chat. Nice to see you, James. Glad to have you here. So, my name is
no
Fiona.
Pressure.
No pressure. We're just going to play the game. It's going to be absolutely fine. Don't panic. Oh, hello, Liz Campbell as well. My name is Fiona. I use she, her pronouns. And for a visual description, I'm a white woman with sort of mid-length blonde brownie hair. I'm wearing my typical Lucian Yak outfit because that's what I'm sponsored by them now, clearly, as well as sort of a sort of clashing top to them, and there's also some little pins on them as well. And I am the host of What Am I Rolling, but I'm also going to be playing the facilitator for this game, but I'm also going to be playing the evil, which is dead exciting as well. Sound is good. Thank you very much. We're going to go around this very small virtual table for good talk about the cast for today's game. We're going to start with Maddy, and then we're going to go over to Lou. And I would love you folks to introduce yourselves for us. Who are you? Where we can find you on the internet, or more about you at least, if you want to be found. A quick visual description, just if you can, and an answer to my icebreaker question. As always, I like to do icebreakers just to get us warmed up as well. Get to know the people who we're playing with. And today, the icebreaker is, well, this game is about a final boss fight, and so I thought, what would be your final words if you were in a boss fight? The final sort of thing that would just cement your legacy. So don't overthink it too much, obviously. So starting with Maddy, I would love to know who you are, where we can find out more about you, a visual description, and what would your final words be in a boss fight?
Yes, hello, I am Maddy. My pronouns are they, them. You can find me across the internet at Maddy is Abstract. And as the host of A Game of One's Own, a solo and duet TTRPG podcast, and as a core cast member of Realms of Peril and Glory, a fully sound designed and scored actual play podcast. And visual description, I am a white non-binary person with a yellow cardigan, a black Critical Role shirt because of course, and I do have black hair or brown hair, but it's covered by a bandana because showering is for much more organized
The
people
weak.
than
I was going to say the week was what I was thinking then.
Yeah. Be hearty in your musk is what I say. And
those your final words? Yeah, I was gonna say.
My final words in my boss fight. I did have a little think about this. I think I would do a sort of quip like, looks like I've got over my conflict avoidance. My therapist would be proud, and then I'd instantly die.
Oh, amazing. Well, thank you, Maddy. I'm glad you're here to play this game with us. Lou, please introduce yourselves for us, please.
Hello, my name is Lou Fryer. You can find me on the internet at I am Lou Fryer. Original. I am a white femme-presenting person with silver-ish, it'll be more silver on Wednesday, long hair, currently tied up in a ponytail with a big kind of retro-style fringe, wearing a half and half mustard blue pink cardigan and a high neck and bright pink lipstick, as is my wont. And I am a TTRPG writer and editor and a regular cast member on the actual play podcast of Dice and Them, and do all kinds of other stuff. Pop up all over the shop. Can't get rid of me. I'm like a disease, a pestilence over the actual play scene.
Not true. What would your final words be, Lou?
Yeah, see, I don't know. It would depend. I think it would very much be dependent on vibes. Like it feels like, that you want to kind of go for your proper, like, Aragorn turning to the side and for Frodo, or you want to do it. You want to make it sort of really heartfelt, or like death. But it's probably going to be something like, I wish I was somewhere else, and then off we go.
I love that. It's. I remember.
Would.
I think, is it Eric Idle? I can't remember. There's definitely those famous last words as he's on the deathbed and his deathbed, and he turns to his partner and goes, "Did you do the bins?" and then passes away. So I feel that's what my words would be, because I'm obsessed with bins. Just now, we've had some issues with our house where the bins haven't picked up, so I'm on bin duty most days. I'm like, "Is it bins?"
Are you
And
on the email to the council?
I've got my partner to do that because I feel that it's one step too far. But I'm on bin duty, as you can imagine. It's like, when is bins?
But you could be the haughty Englishwoman and
I don't know. I'm gonna live up to being a villain in this game. I don't know if I need to increase that anymore, so to speak.
it's character building.
It is character building. Well, thank you guys so much for introducing yourselves. Before we dive into this game, I'm just going to give a quick heads up in terms of content warnings. This is part world building, part tactical TTRPG about a final boss fight where we know that our heroes are going to be played by Maddy and Lou. They're not going to make it. They're going to try their best to defeat the evil, but unfortunately, they are going to sacrifice themselves in order for the next generation to have a chance of being able to defeat them. Think like sort of Rogue One is sort of my touchstone of this, but obviously any games which involve sort of a big sacrifice in order to proceed the story. So there may be themes about loss or grief, heartbreak, as well as some general descriptions of fighting and violence. There may be other themes that will come up as we go, but I'll make sure to flag them as they come up. And we, the players, have done some lines and veils off stream, but just a heads up that you, the viewer, can obviously leave our story at any point, but just come back. If you want to come back, that's welcome to as well. As I always say, you're more important than the roles on the table or us three telling a story about characters who hopefully are going to do the best they can. So, team, it's all they can do. Shall we get started?
Yeah, all right.
All right. Well, I'm going to head over to our other overlay, which is this part. Hooray. So we're going to start the first part of this prequel game with the setup of the quest. We're going to do a bit of world building before we jump into the big fight. We need to find out who we are and, how did we get to this particular point. So both of you, Maddy and Lou, have picked out a combination of origin and calling, which will combine together will make your heroes respectively. And I've picked out the evil archetype that I will be playing and that you will be facing in this particular fight called the Fiend. And as a result of our choices, we're going to have some setup prompts that will help establish who we are to each other and what the world is like. But before that, let's confirm what some of the bigger picture details are going to be, but by describing the realm. The realm itself, so just double checking something. Yeah, the realm itself is basically it's the where's my thing gone? There it is at the top there. This is why you should always read your script before you start talking. That's how it works. So yeah, we're going to establish the narrative boundaries of this particular game. Genre-wise, by default, Prequel sort of takes place in a high fantasy realm with spectacular sort of magic, but this can mean different things to different people. So what we're going to do first of all, we're going to go around our table. I'm going to say two things. We're going to go around twice essentially, and the things could be something that we really want to see in this game, but we're going to put in our yes please sort of sticker that we have here on the overlay, or it's going to be something that no thank you, something that we don't want to see in this particular story. Now you can put something that is like two yes pleases or two no thank yous or a combination of both. It doesn't matter. We're going to go around each of us in turn. So we're going to start with Maddy, if that's okay. We're going to go just one at a time. What is something that you would love to see as part of the story today, or something that you don't want to see in the story today, in terms of if we've got the genre of sort of high fantasy magic, what's something that you would love to see or not want to see?
I would like to steal something from the Elder Scrolls, which
Okay.
is obviously a high fantasy setting. I
Mhm.
would love to have building-sized inhabitable fungi.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So
That's good.
building size fungi, like livable in? Is that what you say?
Yes, yeah, because I believe it's in the sort of Morrowind dark elf area of the world. There are lots of kind of mages who live in sort of fungi towers, and it's all and they sort of float up between different floors because there aren't any stairs because they're all magic. So yeah, I love that kind of stuff.
That's awesome. Love that. Fantastic. All right, we've got that in the yes please column there. Lou, is there what yeah, what is it? Was there something that you would really love to see as part of this game, or something that you're like, nah, don't want this in this game?
I would like to see cool mounts. Like
Ooh.
people just aren't just on horses. Like some people are on big elk. and the like worms, wyverns.
So it's something that's more magical creatures using mounts, or maybe even machines.
Yeah, machines would be cool. Yeah, I just feel like, don't need to be constrained, by just being horse folks. We can do whatever. There's
Nice.
spectacular magic in this world.
Like it.
Some of it to good use.
Here's where you realise, chat, that I can't spell machine. Animals, etc. So there we go. We're going to put that on the chat. All right, it's my turn now. So you've got some yes pleases in there. I want to make, because I was having to think about the evil character that I'll be playing, sort of like, again, which is more collaborative thing, which we'll go to in a second. I want music to be a really big part of this world. Like, I was thinking of like Doctor Who, as one always does. And one of the villains in the most recent series is called Maestro, which uses sort of like music to bend their will. I just want music to be a big part of it, whether it's, and I say this, we do not have to sing on the stream, don't panic, but more like descriptions of music, way we get messages through to each other. It's just always as if people could burst into a musical if should they wish to. I just think music should be a big element. So that's one thing I was going to put in the yes please. And again, when we say these things, they don't have to come out. It's just something that as a touchstone. But oh yeah, that'd be a really cool thing to do. All right. We'll go the opposite way around. So Lou, do you have another thing that you would like in the yes please comment, or is there something that you don't want as part of this game? Thinking about the genre.
Let's have. Someone said in chat that we've had lots of big things. So we need to have we need to have something that's either something big that doesn't exist in this world, or just keep everything. Actually, just have everything big and just have small. There's like no small stuff. Okay, this world is, or this part of the world that we're in is very dry. So it's difficult for stuff to rot down. I'm trying to get rid of bugs. Or like, or having, I don't know. No, that's lame. No, let's have. Tell you what, let's have some unpredictable weather.
Ooh, nice.
Which could could help or hinder building-sized fungi.
I like the
to be honest.
But maybe that's the case. Like, if we don't know when the rain is going to be or something like that, having buildings that could be part of, higher up in trees or places to get around using the fungi there. Like, I love that idea. And then like having mounts that can climb or quickly go over difficult terrain or even float could be quite interesting. That could be quite fun. Maddy, is there anything else in the yes please column or any no thank yous from what we've discussed so far?
I think this could be a fun sort of constraint. There is obviously, like, in the text of the book, there's mention of divine energies, and I'm playing, as we will find out, a devout character. But I would really like it if we didn't have personified humanoid gods.
Ooh.
If they were kind of concepts or eldritch entities or something that was just like not your classic Zeus and Hera kind of fare.
Nice. I like that. Non-humanoid. Nice. I like that as a and that's a very good way of putting it. Not as a sort of a no thank you, is like as a things to get away from rather than be typical. Like, let's think outside the box. I like how you described that there. Brilliant. That sounds good. And I've got to pick something myself, haven't I? Okay. I mean, I assume you guys are going to do this anyway. But yes, please, is that you've got fabulous outfits. Everyone has a fabulous outfit. Okay. Evil has a fabulous outfit, but also heroes have fabulous outfits. It's proper Final Fantasy-esque. Everyone's got belts.
Yeah.
And their hair is this big.
Yeah, big hair. We love it. Yes, absolutely.
Spiky and multicolored.
Yes. Oh,
asymmetrical trousers. All
Everything
that stuff.
is bigger
big
in this
hair
world,
and
including
fashion.
hair.
Yes. Yeah, the weapons might be small, but it's the outfits that look great. Like that. All right. So yes, we've got in our no thank yous. Obviously, we've got our lines and veils document, but sort of like a gods as they are seen as seen as concepts. They are and they are not human, essentially not human, sort of bounded. And then yes, please, we have building size fungi, which are livable in. We have cool mounts, which could be animals or machines. Musics are a big sort of element, a part of the world. Unpredictable weather, and of course, big hair and fashion. Amazing.
I mean, we've done the scale box, right? The scale is big.
Well, so this is the thing. So the scale, thank you for bringing this up. So the next we're going to decide the scale of our game. So the physical area that the realms cover and the world and the evil, so my character has under its control. So typically this is like a region, which could have like like different sort of like factions in it, but it could also be, say, an ancient forest or an underground cavern or a small city or even a tiny village. So I guess to you guys, is there a sort of a vibe that you think, do you want to have like a big scale sort of region that we're playing in, or something smaller or something more unusual?
I think obviously where we aren't going to be going anywhere really. We're going to kind of be constrained by our area, so I think I've not got any massively strong feelings about. I think it would make sense, especially with the sort of vague character concepts Maddy and I have got. It doesn't make sense for it to be too small because there's important people that have been called to sort it out. So I think at least kind of country/region wide would make sense.
How about you, Maddy?
Yeah, I think the biggest I'd be willing to go is continent, and the smallest I'd be willing to go is country. So
Nice. We'll go with the smallest. We'll go for country then. So yeah, so
Yeah.
country region. It makes sense from what we're talking about from the unpredictable weather as well. So that's fine. That works for us. So yeah, so the evil itself, its influence has been felt over the whole region. It's not one small part of it, it's over everything. That's quite interesting. Next up is deciding what the evil is. So we already have what the archetype is. It's the fiend. And according to its description, this is this fiend will the fiend, it sort of says here in the theme itself. So the fiend will tell us a story of deception, temptation, and betrayal. They'll have access to minions and secret conspirators. Their prompts will help us explore our heroes' love and desires, so that your passions, that sort of comes into the temptation. So as a group, we get to decide their name, their sort of general appearance, and their reason for their actions, which will help us inform the quest a little bit. Why would the evil want to rule over this particular region? And how do they appear to be accomplishing this? They're doing quite well, hence why we're going to have that final fight. We don't need to dwell too much on the actual details itself. We just need a bit of an outline to get us going. So I guess let's start with the easiest thing, or the hardest thing, depending on how you see it. What do you think?
If you're about to say name
Yes,
for the easiest thing,
yeah,
then you are talking to the wrong person.
when I say name, it's something like, it will be like like I sort of said about like Maestro from Doctor Who. It's like a like, oh, you know what this is.
Moniker.
Yes, a moniker. So do we have any thoughts for moniker which could come up here?
I hope Maddy does. I will create a character in a video game, and then I will stare at it for 3 hours, and then I'll eventually come up with a name for it.
So scary things, skulls. I love skulls, but they can be scary. Bats. We don't really want to go down the Batman route necessarily.
Always choose Batman. What are you talking about?
Don't want to get into the same issues as the People's Joker had, copyright wise. I think the Laughing Skull seems like a fun.
Ooh, I'm up for that. That sounds
title.
fun. Yeah. All right.
It's like,
call them the Laughing Skull. Yes.
On board.
Yeah.
Having a nice time. At least someone's having fun.
So, from this, then, what do we think the Laughing Skull's appearance is?
I don't think we know.
You don't know. Interesting.
I don't know if we don't know because they are kind of. I'm getting the impression that they've got some sort of fortress or lair or something else like that, and they have mostly been acting for as long as this conflict or whatever else has been going on through agents, and sort
Ooh.
of been safe, veiled behind an air of mystery. And then this confrontation is the first time people are actually going to get eyes on.
Oh, I love it. So it's more so I guess then, if it's not a visual thing, maybe their appearance, that the way their influence is felt is through these minions, maybe through like, again, I'm thinking laughing skull, right? So I'm thinking there must be some sort of chittering, laughing like sound effect as the minions sort of dart away or something like that. So as a sort of like calling card, if it's not a visual thing.
Yeah, you know those little wind up toys
Hmm.
that kind of that's the little I'm trying to think of like the ones that I mean, the sort of the little kind of chattery teeth.
Yeah.
Little chattery teeth. I feel like they just kind of put one down there.
As a calling card, incredible.
Yeah. Except they're not there. Except those teeth haven't got gums on them. Bones
Yes.
all the way down.
Yeah, I guess I and again, a quick question, again, just checking in a little bit. Are these like real like dentures, would you say, or are they those some more plasticky wooden, like, you know what I mean? I'm not saying it's actual people's teeth, but it could be. This is just, I'm just trying to make sure where the line is in terms of like, I would assume it is like maybe it's something that has been made, perhaps like through a mixture of these. We've talked about these building materials of like the fungi and stuff like that. Maybe it's sort of been grown in a sort of way, so it looks it's horrific. You know what I mean? I'm just thinking fantasy levels. Yeah. What about you, Maddy? Anything you want to add to chattering teeth? Question mark as a.
I think a sort of an abstract, kind of symbol version of a skull that they sort of paint onto walls and doors and things to show that they've been there.
Love that symbol of the skull. Nice. I like that, almost like graffiti style.
Yeah. And
Cool.
it's one of those things that, like, one of those sort of clever branding things where it looks like a sort of runic symbol one way, and then you look and wait, no, it's a skull. Oh no.
I love that.
They could do the kind of East India pirate thing of like having like a mark, like the agents or whatever else could have like a something that could be hidden, but they could reveal to each other to show they're in
love that.
cahoots.
I like that. Yeah. So everyone that's starting to follow this particular character, this fiend, love that. That's amazing. What do we think then is their reason for wanting control over this particular world or this particular region? Do we think? Because we've got their appearance. We know that they've got minions. We know that there's stories of temptation, betrayal. There's kind of their vibe. What is it about this region that they crave controlling?
Maybe they have some kind of personal connection to the either monarchy or political framework of the country, and they were betrayed by them, and they're taking it out in the most extra way possible.
Yeah, I like that.
Maybe they've seen it like almost like a chink in the armor, like they've spotted an opportunity, possibly that there's some debate on a line of succession, or there's some big kind of countrywide disagreement where people are kind of very divided about something, and they're kind of using the opportunity of like the divisions that are already part of the society and kind of chinking away at them.
It's that sort of like, again, that acting from the shadows, like having these minions cause destruction but distraction. And then if the political power, whether it be like monarchy, makes sense, maybe a monarchy for like high fantasy, but again, we can have political governments as well, like, you know, it's, but they seem not to do anything about it. So getting, you know, again, causing this divide between maybe other folks who are just trying to get on from their day to day, and yes, trying to take over that power and become the better option. Interesting. I like it. And a personal connection. Do we think that's like an actual person, do you think? Or do you think it's just more of a, or as it what we say, like they've been shut out or something like that? Like I like this idea of the personal connection.
Yeah, like I think sort of a close advisor that was backstabbed in a metaphorical sense by the by the monarchy, perhaps.
Fallen
And
out of
now,
favour.
and I really like the idea of the sort of war of succession. Maybe there are two competing children of the previous monarch who are more concerned with getting themselves on the throne than dealing with this threat.
I like it. Cool. So yeah, taking advantage of this pettiness, this rivalry. Love that. Brilliant. Great. That's a good outline to get us going. So that's the evil sorted in their sort of broad strokes. We're going to look at your heroes now. So each hero, as we discussed, is defined by their origin and their calling. An origin is who they were before the evil sort of emerged, and the calling is the experience and techniques that they have learned to combat the evil. Each hero will also have a burden that they hope to alleviate once the evil has been defeated. So each of you will have 3 approaches. These are bravery, haste, and guile, which will describe your hero's abilities to overcome challenges and the effectiveness of your powers, which we'll see later on in the fight. At the start of the game, you're going to have 1 in each of these approaches, plus any beginning approaches, and you should have those as part of your origin. So what I would love from both of you now is a little bit about your hero that you've got in your mind. So what their name is, their pronouns, what their calling and origin is, and if you can, a 1-sentence description of either their appearance or their sort of personality. And we'll just make a note of them here for the stream. Who would like to go first? Deafening silence there.
I have an idea for a first name. I'll see if I can come up with a second name on the fly.
Yeah.
Marjoram as the first name.
Marjoram. And just a quick question: how do you spell that?
MarJOR.
Like the herb.
Ah, marjoram. Okay. Yes, I knew that. Marjoram. Fantastic.
And surname, go for Stone. Sort of
Marjoram Stone.
something organic and something
cute.
hard and inorganic. And I think go for she, her for this character. The origin that I have is devout. And the calling that I have is Swiftblade. So this is someone who I think has been worshipping the gods as ideals. And I think the main belief that Marjoram holds is that every person has good in them, and the burden that I have is lingering doubt, so that I think the emergence of this evil is challenging my belief that everyone has an inherent goodness. And I think that she is affiliated with probably a prominent place of learning, probably a university, and kind of comes at things rather than from a clerical standpoint, from like a philosophical standpoint. It's like a sort of scholar.
Nice.
Just like a big nerd. But also the university had fencing classes, so that's where the Swiftblade comes in.
She was like, I need a break from all the studying I know.
Yeah.
I'll fight the other folks. Nice. Well, we'll come more into that, like actual sort of making it maybe a faction of a university in a second. Is there any appearance you think of Marjoram at all? Like anything that comes to mind? Again, you don't have to have. I mean, I know we said like big hair and fashion. You can do that, but like just having a think. Like what if we saw them, how would we identify them?
I think that it would be very sort of tight-fitting aerodynamic clothes. I think that's the thing I'll start off with, and I'll have a think about what else
I like it.
might come in.
I often go to my wardrobe and go, today I wish to wear aerodynamic clothes rather than the comfy clothes. No, I love it. You know what? I like Marjoram already. I feel like they know what they want. They've got a purpose. So I really like that. Lou, do you want to introduce your character for us? So a name, if you can think of one. I know it's the most challenging thing.
Yeah, I'm just busy on the fact.
I was going to say, I bet I see that. If you could get a name, that'd be amazing. Obviously, what they look like, pronouns, and what your calling is, and a quick description of them and or their personality.
So my character is called Trace.
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 Mm-hmm.
Which is what they are referred to as by because they are a gentleman's gentle person. Who so kind of sworn to somebody of some rank, probably sort of military nobility, mixture of the two, probably in this some sort of fantasy general captain, maybe.
So like a military sort of family or lineage of some sort.
Yeah, I mean, I think probably yes. So I guess probably in peacetime, some sort of liege lord or a son of a liege lord or something like that. That kind of offered to a military captain when there's a deep evil a big evil to fight. Obviously, Final Fantasy hair, as discussed. So, what can we do that's completely ridiculous? So probably like mauve.
Oh, beautiful. Yes, absolutely.
Just like, probably like, it's all angles.
All angles.
Yeah.
What are you thinking? More like a faux hawk, perhaps, or was it just a big triangle?
I mean, it's. I guess probably it would depend whether they're kind of on. I mean, it's probably kind of slightly sweeping actually, because it's got to be smart. They've got a position of some, respectability.
Yeah.
So maybe it was, big and spiky once upon a time, and now it's just kind of swept.
So you've got the pomade back. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Very good. What's the? I'm guessing their pronouns are they them. Just checking.
Yeah. Yes, let's go with that.
Sure. All right. And what's their origin and calling?
So their origin is crooked. And their calling is bulwark. So maybe all of the things I just told you were a lie.
What? How could you? What is this betrayal that you've got going on? Amazing. Well, thank you for letting us learn a little bit about your heroes. Amazing. We're going to go on to the quest itself here. So this is where we're going to go to the timeline building here, which people will see on the screen. So here at the top, we have our world building timeline components. We have here 3 separate areas for our components. We've got individuals here on the left. We've got our factions in the middle. And then on the right, we have locations. Each of you have some setup prompts, which should, from your hero's calling and origin, which will help us create these components. We're going to do this for each setup prompt that you have, as instructed by the prompt. And we'll also add the name of your heroes in this area, the individuals area as well, so we've got it. And then finally, once we've done those, we're going to put your token on the battle grid, which is over here. I'll show it here on the screen there. So that's where you will begin the fight, so to speak. But let's start, as always, with some setup prompts. So who would like to go first with their setup prompt if they've got an idea? And read out what your prompt is as well for the stream.
All right, fine, I'll go.
Maddy go last. Whoa.
Just feel bad if I'm constantly just passing the buck.
No. We're helping each other. Do not worry.
Okay, so my setup question as the crooked says, recall an innocent individual or faction to represent the group you stole from. What form does your fortune take? So I am going to create an innocent individual. I'm going to create my Captain Noble person.
Oh, okay.
Who is called? I mean, how do ranks work in this world?
They can work however we would like them to be. You think they're a captain?
Yes, I know, Fiona. I was asking the room to help.
The room? They probably would say the same thing.
Yeah. stupid cooperative room. Okay. Yeah. So I guess they're probably a sir normally, but but maybe they're currently a captain. Some kind. Yeah. Let's go for captain. Captain. This is a totally Fiona thing to do. Is just to look around.
Look
and
around
see
the
if there's
room. Look at anything on the walls, any books, any last names of our authors. That's how I do it. Yeah.
Captain Albie.
Albie. Yeah.
Captain Albie. Pelanet.
Pelanet. Okay. Albie Pelanet. Nice. And what was the rest of your prompt? So this is the person you stole from.
Yeah, in a way. And so I guess like at the same time, I guess like would be like the Pelanet household, or a kind of a faction that they'll have kind of people, there'll be other servants, soldiers, various kind of
So are you saying that they're sort of like a military family, or
yeah, I mean, I think probably the, like I said, they're probably some sort of kind of liege lord or whatever else, and then maybe he's a son. Maybe there's several of them, and they've all kind of been given their own company to be head of. So they've got some household guard, plus some militia, and some kind of regular kind of domestic people.
So I guess sort of like a barony sort of thing as well. They've got lots of like
a
certain part of the region, perhaps.
Yeah, and I guess that I don't know if they've all been sent out to kind of gather information about this evil, or whether they're all kind of agreed to meet up in the end, and how well that's gone up until this point. It might be that they all had individual tasks to do, and they were all supposed to kind of meet up and put their information on, but we can decide how well each of those kind of missions went.
Well, exactly. So because sometimes there'll be, when you use your powers, you might recall events of certain things. So this is when you would bring your factions or individuals in and decide there. So yeah, I like the idea that they've, if this particular household have been sort of sent to, maybe there's been a big call from the monarchy or the governing powers to be like, barony, send all this force because we're trying to deal with this sort of thing, and that they've what is this household's strong point? Well, you said they've got military stuff, so they've got strategic stuff, but maybe it's covert operations, perhaps. So yeah, information gathering, absolutely. And who better to send you, a big strong individual? You get information.
Well, I'm a kind of part kind of valet manservant, part bodyguard.
I was just thinking of all those, like I'm thinking of Parker from like Thunderbirds, or even Alfred from Batman.
Be obliged to deliver the Parker Haymaker.
Yeah, exactly. Brilliant, thank you. Maddy, what's one of your prompts that you'd like to do?
My prompt for the devout.
You're loud, Maddy. Sorry, you come.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, start again. Go for it.
My prompt for the devout is recall a faction or location that represents your principles. What is one thing you have vowed never to do? So I am going to say the university that I was kind of referencing. Needs to come up with a name for it.
Again, look around the room.
Yeah. This is probably I'm going down the sort of herbs and spices route in my head.
Yeah, I like
it. Coriander University.
Coriander, yeah.
It could be spelt in a fantasy way.
It's gonna be spelled in a Fiona way, because I ain't looking at coriander. There you go.
Put a Y in it. That'll make it more fantasy.
Yeah, there you go. hidden Y, coriander. Perfect.
And one thing
Collyrinder. That's Collyrinder, which is even better.
Right, well, Collyrinder, there you go.
Collyrinder University. One thing I vowed never to do is never give up on someone's capacity for goodness, and this evil has really challenged that. It seems that all attempts to reason with or kind of be diplomatic with the Laughing Skull have gone awry, and people have just ended up dead or injured. So this is just like, maybe my whole framework for understanding the world is a bit skew with.
And it's really quite hard as well, because if you're thinking like a university of like, the next generation of people, maybe there's been always talk about, the Laughing Skull, people are sharing around this propaganda and stuff. And then, like up until this point when we have the final fight where people have lost their lives or lost livelihoods or anything like that as well to this corrupting influence. It's quite scary in that sort of sense. Yeah. Great.
Absolutely.
Back to Lou with another set of questions. So what's your other prompt for me, please?
So my bulwark setup says, recall a late disaster or conflict. How did it inspire you to protect others, and how has it changed since then? So I think I'm gonna have a previous battle as part of, maybe not a battle, maybe a bit of a more like a skirmish between some kind of agents of the Laughing Skull and the little gang that I'm in with the Pelonets. And what when pre to my taking up my position, I'd been running with people who it was kind of every man for himself, and sort of taking jobs as they come and not really kind of having any long and ongoing loyalties. It was kind of to the person who's paying and whatever else. And so that's kind of the conditioning, I suppose, I'd had, and kind of assumed that would be the case of that's kind of what everyone was like. And then during this fight between these agents of the Laughing Skull, maybe they do, like, if we're talking about like betrayal and tricks and things like that, maybe they utilize a lot of like illusion magic and poison and stuff that's not deemed as like straightforward fair fighting fair. But I noticed how the people under my master, I guess, is command really had each other's backs. They weren't just thinking about their they were genuinely putting themselves in positions of harm to help each other out, which was something that I hadn't really come across before. And I saw it in him as well. Like, even for maybe there was somebody, one of the domestics, maybe caught in the crossfire, someone that kind of normally irons the socks or whatever. But I'm sure that there's one of those in most armies.
You joke, but I'm sure there is someone who does iron socks and like folds underpants and all that sort of thing. Yeah. So
but
where would
everyone had their back?
Yeah, everyone. I love that. What was this location? Did you say, like, was there a name of it, or was it like a mountainside? Was it a valley? Was it in one of these big buildings that are like fungi? What are you thinking?
Oh, so I forgot about the fungi. Now one needs that. Okay, so they had laid an ambush. We were going through. It was in a little village in amongst this fungi forest, and that we had heard that was our thing, was to go and help out the residents of this village, because they had heard that the agents of the Laughing Skull were going to target them. But actually, when we got there, they'd already taken over. Everyone is dead, and they're using all of their dwellings to hide out in, so that when we come into the village, we're surrounded.
That's quite a horrible idea, that you look up and then all these different sort of, again, I'm thinking all these different kinds of mushrooms that you have, sort of like, the death cat, and there's like ones that like curl up like that, and they have like almost like spores that come out the top, and people just on the top of them like shooting down and arrows at you, like flanked on all sides, and people rushing from the and maybe people hiding in the actual are they called gills? I want to say they're sort of like in the raft
on the underside of the mushrooms.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. Why don't I go to a name generator and find a good name for a mushroom village, so poor Lou doesn't have to think of even more stuff.
Off the top of my head, like Chanterelle is a fun mushroom name.
Love that. Chanterelle. Could you spell that for me, please? I've got it down.
CHANTERELE.
Yep.
ELLE.
Nice. Chanterelle.
I believe.
Well, it is. A fantasy world. We have different spellings and pronunciations. That's how we go for this. Nice, excellent. And then Maddy, you got another prompt as well.
Yes, my prompt is: recall an individual or faction you received your martial training from. What is a signature mantra from your school? So I think that there was a sort of fencing club affiliated with the university. And I think the mantra that they had was swift and merciful. So you could probably read that as either don't kill unless you have to, or when you kill, do it quick so that they don't suffer. So yeah, there's kind of like different maybe different schools of thought within that group.
Cool, I like that. Who would be the individual that you're thinking of then?
I think there would be a fencing master, perhaps. Let's have a think. Granton.
Granton. It could be just Granton the fencing master.
Yeah, Granton the fencing master. That sort of the sort of nice mixture of firm but fair. I think just sort of a very steady influence in Marjorie's life.
I love that. Very good. All right, so those are the two prompts for your characters. Very, I know, hardest thing in the world is to come up with things on the fly, but you did an amazing job. The next thing we're going to do for you guys, we're going to go over to the battle grid, and you'll notice that it is a 6x6 battle grid. And I've got some little tokens here that will put you as first of all, I know we'll change it to be whatever color you like. Don't panic, you're not going to be green forever. But where would you folks like to go on the battle grid? I've not put my token on there yet because I'll put it when I do my my prompts, but you get to go first. Where would you like to go? Do you want to be in the middle, on the edges?
I'm gonna be the 5th box along and the 3rd one down.
Here. So
yes.
So
I don't know what the evil is yet. That might make a big difference. But
let's start
off there.
I like it. So you are 5 columns in, 3rd row down. Nice. What color would you like, Lou? We've got all those colors that you see on the screen. I'm not adding any others.
I don't see any colors on the screen.
You got yellows, reds, purples.
Oh, I can see and now on the Twitch screen.
Yeah.
Okay. I want that cool. That kind of the bottom right blue.
Right blue. This one, the dark blue.
No, the bottom. Yeah, that one. Yes.
Okay. All good. All right. I got you.
Sorry, I think you're on a delay. I was trying to watch on Twitch.
No, don't watch on Twitch. All right.
Twitch on delay. Yeah.
Oh, good.
The darker one.
All right. Cool. Maddy, where would you like to go with your character?
I would like to go in the box immediately to the right of Lou's one.
Right, so one behind the other. Amazing.
Yeah.
What color would you like as well?
I would like to be purple because I just Googled marjoram and the flowers of marjoram are purple.
Cute. Amazing. Great. All right, that's you folks set up with the characters. So next thing we're going to do is so we've got our world building components. We've got our, which is all done. And
When do we
now
do burden?
burden is you use that, you do that when we come to when you use it. You work it. I mean, you've said what your burdens are, haven't you? If not, I'd say them now.
No.
What your burdens are. Like what does it say for them? Go for it, Lou.
So burden says past crimes, whether you had or wanted to, you amassed fortune at the expense of the innocent. You would have been caught and sentenced if the evil didn't appear. If you fail, you will have to answer for your crimes. If you succeed, your heroism may be enough to absolve you.
There you go. So that's the sort of thing where when you use your final power in that sort of stage 3 of the fight, that's when you confront your burden. And so you can go into a bit more detail there. So you don't have to worry about it yet.
Okay.
And Maddy, what's your burden? Just so we've got it.
Yes, it is lingering doubt. You've always held a steadfast belief in your teachings and principles, but the rise of the evil causes a sliver of a crack in your conviction. Prove to yourself above all others that you still believe.
Amazing. All right. So the next thing we're going to do, we're going to set up the evil and their prompts as well. I'm just going to quickly go to it in my sheet. So many pages. Where are you? There we go. So my setup, I have 2 setups like you have, but I'm going to give events. So you can see here we've got underneath the components, we've got something called the quest timeline. I put 2 event cards already on it. We've got the evil emerges on the left-hand side, and then the final fight where we'll be ending up at on the right. So that's sort of the continuum of time. And I'm going to put 2 events that go in this timeline as well. And then when we're doing the fighting element of it, you'll be recalling events to put into this timeline as well. So I was going to say, so as the evil player, I'm going to do my 2 prompts now, and then place my token on the grid. So the first prompt I have is I'm going to recall an event where the evil began expanding its influence. Choose a location and describe how it changed as the evil slowly corrupted it. So we've got one location just now, and one thing to say as well is that if we don't, for whatever reason, like the location, we can always add another one to it. We're not sort of bound by the ones we've created. And I feel like because of this particular village in the fungi forest, we've already sort of talked about how it's already been corrupted or taken over, and so we've already got that. So I'm going to bring a new element to this. I'm going to go straight for the heart and go for the capital city, as one does. I'm going to call this capital city, doing my classic method of looking around the room for a name. We're going to call it. Blade Song. We'll call it Blade Song. It's the capital city.
Like it.
Thank you. I just came up with it.
So good.
So Blade Song, I think, is again the capital city. Like that's where many adventurers would start. Perhaps maybe this is where the university may be a part of, or maybe the university is somewhere else, because we've got quite a decent big region for this place as well, and where it expanded its influence. I think we've sort of talked about this idea of the secret sort of sigils, the secret sort of like graffiti, and I think more and more of it came apparent. And this idea of a divide, there'll be stuff like happening in the streets, and I think it was a lot of it was these sort of minions, these agents of the Laughing Skull, trying to manipulate things to the point where I think there was maybe a let's say there's a parade of some sort throughout Blade Song, maybe like the founding parade, like this is the year that the city was founded, etc. And I think something terribly went wrong there, where it was maybe staged that again, sort of calling the monarchy a sham, all that sort of thing, and these individuals, and to the point where several floats made out of all these different sort of flowers, maybe even some sort of like pulled along by different mounts that we've talked about. So maybe there was like goats or even sheep, all that sort of thing, that were just sort of let loose. So it was more chaotic than anything else, and it was just to sort of make a big message that this Laughing Skull is present and here and has gained support because people prefer the description and chaos, and it's just that sound of chittering happening throughout. So I will put an event on the timeline, and I'm just going to put it in the middle here. We can always shift where they go, but I'm going to put disruption at the Blade Song Founding Parade. And that's just going to go in between these two events. And when we create events, we can say where they go in the timeline as well. So we just know that's in between just now. The second prompt I have is recall an event where an individual was revealed to have been working for the evil all along. Now, who could it be? Who could I choose out of the two that you picked? Oh,
which would hurt more?
I think they both hurt, right? They'd both hurt quite a bit.
Does it have to be one of them?
I could choose because we've got two, or I could bring someone. I feel it's up to you.
You could have someone from my household if you want.
That sounds good. It could be someone that works with the household. That'd be good, actually. Who do we think it's? I'm going to open it up to you folks. Who do you think it is? If it's not the captain, who could it be?
So I've just been sort of establishing some more lore in my head as you've been kind of talking about this. I think Captain Albie's mother is the governor of not the capital, but of a large region. Maybe a kind of largely kind of arable relation. There's a lot of agriculture and stuff, and she the place is called Searle.
Searle, okay.
Yeah. And so she's the governor of Searle, and I think then she's kind of sent out her best captains, at least two of which I'm sure are her own children. So maybe it's one of the other captains, so that there's now a kind of rogue Pelanet outfit somewhere that's kind of working against the others.
Nice.
Or I think that.
I mean, we could make it so it's like another chat, or it could be the mother, the governor herself.
It could be.
I'm just thinking, because I loved how that description. I was feeling very much Queen of Thorns, Game of Thrones style, where she sort of sits back and says, "Tell Cersei it was me," and everyone's like gasping because she's like I say in quotation marks, a little old lady. Yeah.
Yeah, she looks all kind of wise and benevolent for probably, like, I think maybe the whoever the ruler is in Blade Song kind of called upon all of the big houses to contribute, and Searle was like the first nation to pledge,
right?
And so, like, sent out these different factions, some of which are her own children, but actually
brutal. No, I love that. I think that's great. Do you have a name in mind, or Maddy, can you think of a name that would be good for this governor, this mother of Captain Albie?
So it would presumably be also a Pelanet, so that would be the surname, I'm guessing.
Yep.
Something sort of wholesome and agricultural for the first name would be a nice sort of thematic twist.
That. Yeah.
So maybe something like,
we think maybe a flower of some sort, like peony or marigold. That's a terrible name.
How about I went arable.
Arable.
That's like Arabella Pelanet.
Oh, Arabella Pelanet, the governor of Searle. Brilliant. And I've added Searle in as a location as well, so we've got that to play with. Love. Very cool. So so now we've got this. It's an individual. So what was my prompt? It said recall an individual was revealed to have been working for the evil all along. Oh, well, instantly, like, I feel like, again, whether or not your heroes are there or not, I'll leave up to you. But again, I like that idea of the council or the people from the regions have come to have this big meeting, and there's also like talk and whatnot about what should we do, and like this evil's everywhere, this laughing skull. It will have happened after this particular parade, and I think this calm, collected woman who's unassuming. Like again, I'm thinking proper like again Queen of Thorns, but like not like an old elderly lady, just a mother, so kind and gentle, etc. And she just gives this
But she's
massive
got some grandeur.
Right, she's got absolutely grandeur. She looks, and she just calmly stands up and sort of lays out all these sort of like reasons why like the evil's at the door. Her guards have let them through, and that we fully put our support behind the Laughing Skull. It's just that reveal of like this whole time, all that sort of like, oh yes, we'll help, absolutely. And so all these like resources, the guards, money, support have all gone to her region, and she's just given it over straight away to the Laughing Skull because she's fully like she fully believes in it, in that whatever it is.
But all the different little factions that have been sent out don't know
Yeah.
because it's all happening at home.
Yeah, and so they're horrific. So I love
Also, Fueled Chaos in the comments says, I like Mother Governor as some form of military political title, and I love that.
That's amazing. Thank you, Hamilton. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Oh, is that Hamilton?
That is Hamilton,
Yes.
yeah.
Nice.
Perfect, Hamilton. Yes, she's the Mother Governor of Salacy.
The betrayer. Fantastic. Yeah, and I'm going to put that again. We can shuffle these around. I'm just going to put that pretty soon after the founding parade. But that's it. Yeah.
I like the idea that she was sort of like, oh yes, I will solve the Laughing Skull situation, and just like very vague, just like complete plausible deniability of what she's actually doing. But everyone just assumes she's like, oh, you're going to eradicate them. Yeah, great.
Yeah,
but she
thank
never
goodness.
says that out loud.
No, exactly. Brilliant. And then I've done my 2 prompts, which is excellent. And then I'm going to place my token on the grid, which is red and it says the letter F on it, not for Fiona, but for Fiend, which I think is great.
But also for Fiona.
And you folk have put yourselves up in sort of like columns 5 and 6 on the sort of right hand side. I need to take center stage, so I'm going to go sort of here, but sort of in the middle. So I'm going to go third column in, third row down. So you're sort of facing you folk at this point. So that is our sort of setup thing. The final thing I'm going to do before we go to a break is that I'm going to give you two some legends. So these legends are like are basically extra things you can do when you recall events. You could be like, oh well, I think this ticks off a legend. And these things, if you complete them, there's usually like 2 to 3 conditions. You will help you gain some extra little bits, benefits, unlock upgrades for your characters. Now I've got them on the sort of right hand side of this sort of mirror board, and ideally I should give them to you at random, but I don't like doing that. I want you guys to have some agency on it, and there's quite a few of them, admittedly, but I've got a few that I'm going to give as suggestions. I think that could be interesting, but obviously if you see one that you would like to pick, I can give that to you. So I'm going to give you 2 each. So I was thinking instantly for Maddy's character, I wondered if like the tragic mentor could be one. You've talked about a mentor yourself. We've got like the cavalry arrives, which could be for Lou's character as well over here. We've got stuff like secret air, forbidden knowledge. I've got loads of these other ones. So basically, you're going to get a couple of these that you could tick off. But yeah, if there's anyone that sort of jumps out to you, just have a quick read and let me know.
So where it says component, that's we add something into the world building, and then when it says chapter 1 or 2, that's an event that takes place in between the
So yes, that will be like that. So that's the condition. So yeah, it will be like, I think we've got this component, and then you tick that off. And then the chapter 1 or 2 is that when you would create that event. So yeah, so when you recall events. So chapter 1 will be the first part of the fight. Chapter 2 is when we have that reflection, and then yeah, chapter 3 is sort of that. Then the fight begins anew.
Yeah, I think the tragic mentor definitely works for me.
All right.
I think that would be great.
All right. So
and
get that to you.
yeah,
sounds good.
And the other one that I'm sort of intrigued by is ancient artifact.
Ancient artifact. Let me have a look. Yeah, yes, I see here. So yeah, component, location that possess an artifact of power that could return the tide, and some events to it. Brilliant. Yeah, I'm happy for you to have this. I'll put a little sticker next to it so you know they are yours to look at. Perfect.
Fantastic.
All right. How about yourself, Lou? Any thoughts?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have Martyr,
Marta, yeah. Downhill.
and then I am torn between Turncloak and Third Party.
Ooh. Well, I mean, what will happen later is that you might get you will get some more legends. So if you want to have like the other one later, you absolutely can do. You just won't be able to
Okay.
activate. You won't be able to activate it in the first part of the fight. That's the only thing I'd say. So if there's one that you would like to play now, and then we can keep the other one for you later, that's absolutely fine.
Maddy, A or B?
B.
Okay, we're gonna have Third Party.
Third party. All right. So there we go. So you've got your legends now, and again, we'll read them out as they come up relevant, but keep an eye on them. Essentially, when we're fighting, when we're performing the things, you might be like, oh wait, this ticks off some conditions, and only with my sort of say so do they tick off. Because as the evil player, obviously, I don't want you to gain nice things. That would be awful. But yes, so that's what the plan is for this. So keep an eye on those for now. All right, so that's the main setup done. Congratulations. I know it takes a little while as we're working things out, but yeah, how are we feeling? Are we excited? Have we got some ideas percolating about our particular characters and stuff?
Yeah, I'm excited to get betrayed and get really sad. I'm very. It's one of my favorite things in games.
What? Not at all, not at all. What
And
about
I'm
yourself, Lou?
I'm playing this game to challenge myself because I hate being betrayed and being really sad in games, and I hate it when my characters get hurt or die. And I'm trying to grow as a person and a role player. So going to witness personal growth in real time.
Whoa.
So come back for that.
Only on a TTRPG live stream would you get that. Brilliant. So yeah, so we're going to take a very short break just now, just so that we can get some water and refresh. But that's the main world building stuff done. Thank you, folks, so much for joining this stream. If you've enjoyed this game, please go check out the link to the Kickstarter. I've got the affiliate link. Ooh, when my mouse decides to work. Oh, it's on. It's because I've got two screens up, so instantly it doesn't work. There we go. So check out Prequel. By the wonderful James Quigley and Ethan Yen, who are a little bit in chat as well. So yeah, go check it out, go support it. We've got a couple more days left of funding. Yeah, so we're gonna go for about 5 minutes, and then we'll come back and then we'll begin the final fight, which is very exciting. We're gonna wave awkwardly as I find the sort of BRB button, and yeah, we'll see you in a little bit. Bye.
Hi.
And we are back. Welcome back, team. Thanks for sticking with us. We are going to go straight into this big old boss fight that we've been teasing for the first sort of hour as we do our sort of setup. So we've got our big boss fight with our wonderful two heroes. So let's get started. So as we sort of see, we've got this sort of battle grid here. We've got a 6x6 battle grid. And we've got our heroes sort of one behind the other is what I'm thinking right now. Not always the case. They're sort of in the fifth column and sixth column on the third row, and in front of them they see the fiend, the creature that I will be playing, the person I will be playing, sorry, who is sort of the third column across but third row down. And I'm going to lay the scene of how I had to think about this in the break about what the final battle looks like. So I think, looking at what we want to include in our game, I think we are in one of these building size fungi. I think we're maybe on the top of one, actually, like a big sort of like yes, a big sort of roof of one that sort of like is a flat top essentially. So we're quite high up in the air. I think whether you thought your way up or you've bamped here through whatever means, you're both on top and you can see in front of you finally the person you believe is the Laughing Skull. And because you have no idea what this person looks like, all you've heard is those sort of rumors about the sounds and chittering. You know it's them because you can hear the sort of sound of like chattering teeth and the odd sort of giggle and stuff. And this person turns around and you see, again, thinking about what we want in this game, just an immaculately incredible looking like person. They've got a beautiful sort of like long evening dress on, which has got sort of what looks like they've made of stars. It's sort of shining out stars. The edges of the dress itself is sort of on fire, like a beautiful sort of like blue sort of flame, which blue is very hot, that sort of thing. They don't actually have any hair, and actually, as the sort of body turns, the head doesn't turn with it until it finally does. It is just a circle, pure sort of circle, a orb of light. Essentially, think again of that sort of night sort of blue. On it is a sort of light, bright sort of eyes, or think of almost like light bulbs, sort of the circular sort of changes, and a crooked sort of mouth. Again, that sort of light against the sort of blue dark, and they don't have any pupils or irises or anything like that. It's just when they sort of narrow their eyes, the whole face sort of narrows. So that's how they sort of make expressions. And again, the sort of crooked mouth. And as they sort of turn to you, their hands, again, not necessarily connected to anything. It's almost like a big sort of like, I almost want to say Mickey Mouse hands. That's not what I meant at all. But like, sort of big gloved hands sort of turn around, not connected to me, but it's sort of gesture. And a sort of very high voice, almost nasally, but sort of booms out towards you two. It goes, "Ha! So glad you're here to see the show." And they clap their hands. And at the beginning of the fight, I'm going to enact their first thing, which is that they're going to summon some minions. They're going to summon 2 minions.
No.
Yes. Is it a boss battle without minions? And they're going to summon them just in front of them. So we see on the fourth column there. So I'm going to put M for minion as well. And these minions, they are actually like almost like orbs of light. Again, they're sort of like a little bit crackly, a little bit static, like sort of almost zipping a little bit, sort of in front of you, almost a sort of putting it like it's almost putting a barrier in the way. So there are more creatures on the battlefield. Is there anything that either of you say to yourselves or to this person, the Laughing Skull, before we begin?
Oh, I desperately want to say something cool, but I think I wonder if Marjoram is just kind of sort of dumbstruck by this display. It is so not what she expected.
Mm-hmm.
And I think just sort of grasps the hilt of her rapier and draws it slowly and meaningfully, and lies narrow.
Yeah, this fiend, the Laughing Skull, sees you do this and sort of like, oh, so vulgar, and sort of laughs. What about yourself, Lou? What does Trace say? Anything?
Trace is going to turn to Marjoram, or maybe not quite turn. Doesn't want to turn their back.
Mm-hmm.
But says to Marjoram, "I'm not a good person, but this is. I think getting rid of. I think getting rid of the skull will be good. When you do something good, that makes it good, right? It's what you do in the end, not the start, that counts, right?"
Yeah, I think you're right. You can't let your past actions dictate your future actions. If you've done stuff that you regret, you don't have to make that a pattern that keeps repeating. You can always try something different.
Yeah, I think you're right. Off we go then.
Yeah, you sort of say that over your shoulder as you see the Laughing Skull sort of like again sort of bouncing up and down. Again, you realize they probably don't have any feet. They're just sort of like, again, this sort of being. And they're like, ah, so dull. Okay, let's boogie. And we'll go into our fight. So what happens for the structure of this fight? There'll be turns and rounds like what we're used to in terms of combat. But here's the fun thing. So each of the players, yourselves, each hero will get to go and have, you can take 2 actions in your turn. You can move 1 space on the grid, and then you can use a power, or in any order that you wish to. After each of your turns, I get to go. So the fiend will get 2 goes, and then at the end of the round, when everyone's had a go, a lair action known as a shift will happen as well. So again, this is where the tactic comes a bit into it. So feel free to discuss what your plans are. I mean, I will be listening, but don't worry about like trying to keep things hidden now, because you're trying to help each other in this front. But as always, the players go first. So which hero would like to go first, and what are they doing? I'll hand it over to you.
Trace going to go first. Because Trace is going to charge.
Whoa, what power are you using?
Charge.
Describe it for us. Go for it. What do you do?
Sure. So I think that's kind of why they had kind of a quiet moment with Marjoram, like, yeah, okay then. What?
Yeah, go.
Off they go. So it says range special effect. Move in a straight line in the row or column you currently occupy. Deal harm equal to the number of spaces you moved before reaching the enemy.
Mm-hmm. All right, so you're gonna rush.
I was
me.
both pleased that you put yourself in the same column as me,
Yeah.
and not pleased that you
Well, I didn't put
a little
myself
bit closer
pretty
than I
far
like.
away at the edge of a
Yeah, so I could just go.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's fine. So I'm gonna move you then. So you're gonna move. You can't invade my space, unfortunately. But you can move up to 1. So I'm gonna take 1 damage off the off. You're just straight in. Like what does it look like to us as you're sort of charging in? Like, are you using a weapon? Or are you just using your full force of like your physicality?
I think they've got a big Final Fantasy sword.
Yeah.
You know, the kind of one that you kind of wield 1 or 2-handed, but like that sort of is so big that kind of when you're in a cutscene, it kind of goes slightly into your shoulder. Like, and you sort of think that can't be comfortable.
You just whopping you straight off. Again, it's that moment where this.
Yeah, you kind of got the anime run of like.
Yeah,
and then you got the kind of.
Yeah, the big light effect going down. Yeah, I feel like the Laughing Skull was like sort of like, okay, let's dance, and then you were, huh? As you actually came towards them. I think they weren't expecting that. So
let's
that's
dance. Flash dance.
Exactly, amazing. So that happens. I'm going to take 1 harm. As a result, they have a hit point count as well, which I'm going to keep track of. But more importantly, you have, as part of this power, you get to create an event as well. Do you want to read out what that is for us?
Oh, I do that now. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So, recall an event where an individual or faction enacted a reckless plan. What did they lose in exchange for victory? What did they gain? Okay. So I am going to put an event into the timeline.
Yeah.
Of a time prior to working with the Pelinets. And I was kind of working with a gang of mercs.
Okay, yeah.
And they basically just kind of took an opportunistic punt on. They knew that several of the kind of the Pelinet squadrons were moving through the region. Thought they'd probably have lots of they kind of didn't really care about the overwhelming conflict, just kind of trying to take opportunities off either side wherever they can get something, just kind of selfishly. So they thought, they're going to be traveling with weapons, maybe some gold. There'll be nice stuff. So my gang of mercenaries ambushed a gang of Pelinet. But actually only half of them are wearing Pelinet livery. The rest of them just kind of like in normal clothes. And they're actually, and it's weird. Obviously, I don't know a huge amount about the noble houses at this point, but they're moving towards Silacy, not away from it. And there is an ensuing fight, which is it's supposed to be kind of like a swift in and out, but it's incredibly bloody, and actually quite evenly matched because there's lots of civilians in this in this convoy, and which ends up. So my question was, what did you lose?
Yeah.
And the answer to that is they lost everyone. All of the convoy are killed, but also all of my compatriots are killed.
Proper bloodbath. Yeah.
Yes.
Mm.
And I'm kind of wondering what to do with myself. So I go sort of start rifling through, as was the original plan, kind of defaulting to what was going to be. And I climb into the carriage and start rifling through the nicest looking bag. And there's a letter in it. This is going to be with what did they gain? And this letter is a letter of an offer of employment.
Yeah.
Which to serve Captain Albie Pellinet, and it is addressed to Bannon Trace.
Wow. Holy heck.
What? What?
Wow, amazing. I love that. I love that sort of the origin of how how it came about, but you lost everything when you maybe didn't need to. Pretty good. I've put that Merc ambush on the house. I'm putting it to near the beginning of the timeline because I think maybe the evil's already sort of in the background in that sort of sense, which makes sense.
It's a kind of it's before. I think it's before the mother governor sent them out.
Yes,
So sort of in
100%.
the stab line. So yes, I've taken on the identity of another.
I love it. Fantastic. I'm going to help you out and give you a name to your gang, just in case it comes up later. Don't worry. I'm going to call them Hell's Teeth because I think that's pretty badass, and it's also something that my name thing came up just now. So I was like, brilliant. I'll do Hell's Teeth. So the Hell's Teeth gang is something that you were a part of as this sort of merc gang, but all of them, a majority of them perished. As a result because of this ambush. Amazing. So you've moved. I mean, you've charged and you've done some damage. You still have a move action. Would you like to move back, or do you want to stay where you are?
I'll stay where I am because you can't move diagonal in this game, can you?
You guys, yeah, you guys can't. But unfortunately, I can as the fiend, which is interesting. So I'm going to take my turn now. Now, do I want to move, or do I want to do one of my cool special things? I think, what does it say at the beginning? Let me double check. I think it makes sense at this time. Yes. They sort of like they see you coming and you slash at them. You do that sort of the big anime sort of big sword, and it's like shh, and actually their body you cut into their outfits. Again, it's long evening gowns and it sort of splits in two a little bit, but it doesn't fall to the ground or anything like that. It just splits, and so you have this horrible sort of cut through. But again, we can see behind sort of this midnight blue starry sort of escape. It's just a black void, essentially. It's just horrific. And the laughing skull sort of looks down, looks back up to you almost comically, and goes, "Oh, buy someone dinner first," and then snaps their fingers, and they're going to summon another 2 minions to.
What?
Yep. They're going to summon another 2 minions, and they're going to put them. There's going to be one behind you, and there's going to be one next to your friend as a result. But that's all they can do on their turn. They can only make one action, so they've summoned even more minions. Next up is Marjoram. Marjoram, what are you doing as your erstwhile friend Trace charges straight in, does damage, and then more minions appear?
I would like to use my slash power on the minion that is directly between me and Trace.
Amazing. Read out what
So
that does.
Range 1 effect, deal 1 harm. And I get to deal additional harm for any space that I moved in this round. That's my haste, but I didn't move anything, so I don't get any additional damage at this point. But I will be able to use that and hopefully gain that benefit later. And recall an event when an individual or faction had to sacrifice something meaningful to succeed.
Let's move over then to the timeline then. Yeah. What are you thinking?
Ooh. I think that Marjoram was up for a professorship at Colorado University and saw that these whispers of a great evil were coming through and no one was taking it seriously, but Marjoram kind of had this instinct that this was something different and something that needed attention, and possibly did some research into it, and enough alarm bells were ringing, and brought the issue to the university, but the university fired her because they didn't believe her. And so she had to give up her career essentially in order to try and defeat this evil.
Wow. Despite you doing the right thing, people didn't believe you. Gives up career to pursue evil. Yeah, the fiend. Nice. And do you think that came again? We can play around with this. Do you think that came before the Merc ambush? I think it's maybe early on, or did it come after? Did it come around about the same time? Do we think we can easily do that on this timeline?
I think it was probably shortly before the disruption at the Bladesong founding parade, and then it was sort of like, I've been vindicated by this founding parade going wrong, but I'm
right.
not happy about it because it was awful.
I hate being right. Yeah, absolutely. Amazing. All right, yeah, we'll put it there as well. And again, we can swish these around. Brilliant. So yeah, how do you dispatch this particular minion easily? You destroy it in one go. So how do you kill it?
I take out my rapier and I do a sort of Zorro X right through this minion's body. One swipe down diagonally, one swipe the opposite way, and just,
light trail still in the sky.
Yeah, and the sort of quad-sected corpse just falls to the floor.
Yeah, if anything, as you do it, it sort of goes and it's sort of like, again, this sort of the thing that was holding it together, this is sort of orb of energy. It sort of sparks and stuff, and as you sort of zip through it, it just again, it's almost like the after effects of something, and it just disappears, instantly dead. Amazing. And yeah, you can see your friend Trace and this creature, this fiend, sort of like again, sort of dancing almost in front of it. But yeah, you can see these other minions there as well. Okay, that is your turn. Would you like to move at all? So you do have an action to move.
I would like to stay where I am because I don't want to leave this minion up top alone.
Fantastic. Okay, it's now my turn. I go straight after you again. And funny, you should mention that minion. I'm going to use my action to activate this minion. So this minion next to you is going to attack you. It is going to basically, I'll read it out. The minion is going to perform one action. They're simple servants, and once activated, it will do one action from the list below. I think, does it want to attack you or does it want to push you? Good question. I think it's just seen like, and one of these other minions just get completely like Zorroed, essentially, as the verb we're using. So I think it sort of turns to it, and it's sort of like, it's just like an orb, like a spinning orb, and I think something just reaches out almost like a pseudopod sort of, and it sort of latches onto your hand, and suddenly you just feel this amazing sort of spark, this sort of electricity as it hits you for 1 damage, essentially, but it's still sort of there. And it's almost like as it sort of reels back and you feel like this almost like this shock energy coming over you, you can see it sort of dulls slightly. You think it can't be activated until the next round as well. It doesn't have like any reactions. And I say that as well, they don't have opportunity attacks, those particular creatures as well. Okay, so you both have had a go. I've gone twice, which is hilarious. I am now going to activate the shift, which is at the end of the round, as it were. So these are sort of persistent sort of effects meant to shake up the battlefield. These are sort of introducing new twists and threats, etc. Let me look what my twist is. Oh, that's fun. Where did that go? Hang on. Fiend twist. I had it here. Oh, where have you gone? Where's my shift? Shift. That's why I summoned more creatures. That's why. Interesting. Yeah. So, again, this creature's like, oh, don't get rid of them. They're just here to have fun. I think we need some more dancing partners. And again, we'll click it. So I'll sort of clap its hands over its head this time, and more of these minions turn up. So we get another 2 at the end of the. Yeah, so another 2. They'll just be next to each other. So again, almost like Trace, you're sort of surrounded now by these orbs of light, the sort of like the static as it sort of comes up. But that's all I can do on my turn. Yeah. Let's go back to the top of the round. Who would like to go first, Trace or Marjoram?
I know what I'm going to do, but I don't need to do it first.
All right.
I would.
You want to do something, Maddy?
I'd like to use my empower power from my devout section of skills. You or one hero within range may spend 1 approach without using an action until the end of their next turn. Recall an event when an ancient power or magic was restored to its former glory. How was it used?
Nice.
So I need to move towards Trace.
All right, moving towards you. Yep. Right behind them.
And just kind of a small touch on the shoulder and a sort of a blooming of purple swirling energy kind of wraps around your I think it kind of wraps around your arms and down to your hands, and you feel the potential in your body is sparking and ready to be expended. And
nice.
An event where an ancient power or magic was restored to its former glory. Well, I've got my ancient artifact legend.
Okay.
So is there a way that I can use sort of combine these?
Yeah, absolutely. So describe what the event is, and then I'll be like, yeah, that sort of ticks off 1 or 2 conditions. Absolutely. We can look at it. So describe the event first. And this is helpful because then you could tailor this particular event. I realize I forgot to add an event for myself, but we'll wait till after your turn and I'll add my event as well. I realize that because when I used the power.
No worries. So I think that before leaving the university, there's a restricted part of the library.
Yeah.
And as I have been fired, I no longer have access to the library, and also these are reference texts that should not be removed from the library. But there is one book that has been rumored to have powers that have not yet been activated, and I decide to just steal it. I just completely on the night where I meant to take all my sad little potted plants and all my office supplies out of the fungal towers of the university, I sneak into the library and I steal this powerful tome that
nice.
has some sort of ability that will help in the fight against evil.
Amazing. I like that. So I'm guessing that comes after your career.
Yes.
Yeah, but maybe before the parade.
Yes, I think so. Yeah.
Amazing. I can move this along the timeline. Brilliant. I love that. Fantastic. And so yeah, your power goes off as you do this this effect. I realized that as when I do stuff as the fiend, I also get to create stuff. So when I created those more minions, I recall an individual who allied with the evil. I am going to say we've already got Arabella. I am going to just put another. What have we got here? Allied with the evil. I'm going to put someone from the university in there. I'm not going to put Granton yet. I'll just slowly but surely corrupt all of your cool friends. I'm going to put someone else from the university, which will I'm going to put. Oh, you've just talked about the library. I'm going to put the head librarian under my control. So maybe there was a mixture of why you couldn't get these books out before, because there was some sort of restrictedness on that. So I am going to put head librarian. Can't spell library. Librarian. I know what it's spelled like. And we're going to call them. Looking around, we'll call them head librarian. Chime. We'll call them head librarian Chime. And yeah, I think we see a scene where I think maybe that is the scene sort of after you steal this powerful book. I think there's a meeting with all the sort of that's it. I'm thinking of it now. Where like Chime is locking up for the night, and you're sort of hiding in the background. But you would see now that we talked about this idea of a mark of some sort. So there's like a laughing skull on the inside of their wrist, a very small, delicate one, but indicating that they have allied themselves to the cause. So I will put that on the timeline as well.
Nice.
Yeah. Chime is allied to the laughing skull cause. Amazing.
With legends, if we use bits of it, we get them ticked off, you say?
Yeah, so this is actually a good point, because I know, Maddy, you were considering your thing now was something to tick it off. So what was the legend you wanted to tick off? Your ancient artifact?
Yes.
All right, let's have a look. See. So, component 1, the location of a possessed artifact of power that could turn the tide. I think we've done that. We've sort of talked about it in the university library. So that's a tick for that. And then you said chapter 1, one event where a clue to the artifact's power is revealed. So I think that's what you've done. And you created an event where you found a tome, and maybe you've got to unlock the tome to have more power to it. So I think that's the clue. The clue is you've got the artifact, so to speak, but you can unlock it there. So you've unlocked, I think, with that memory that we've just created, the event we created, you've taken 2 out of the 3 conditions, and I'm happy for you to have that. And then chapters 2 or 3, which you can't activate yet, you would then create another event where it is recovered, like as in like you've unlocked it. I'm going to say,
yeah, that makes sense.
That's what we're going to say for that. Amazing. Let me.
I'd like to put forward an argument that in the last round I created a faction not allied with the heroes or evil that seeks to take advantage of the conflict.
Ooh, interesting. Let me just tick these off. So which one is that? Which one's that when you say?
That's my third party legend. I think in the creation of Hell's Teeth was a faction not allied with the heroes or evil that seeks to take advantage of the conflict.
I think that's true. Yes, we'll take that off for yourself as well. Congratulations. Very good. Very good. Woo, indeed. All right. So that's all that. So I've created my memory. That's all good. It is now my turn. Unless you wanted to, you've moved forward. You've done your power, which was the shield thing. Great. All right. It is now my go as the fiend again. As seeing this this party, this sort of camaraderie coming up, I'm like, just kill them. Get on with it, and claps their hands again. I'm going to activate Sacrificed. I'm gonna this one next to me, next to Trace at the top here. Let me just get my little.
They're all next to Trace.
They are, but also there's one next to Marjorie.
Almost everyone in the game's next to Trace.
Actually, I think. Oh, that's interesting. Range of 1. It would get me as well. I think, yeah, this creature, this fiend, the laughing skull says, "Oh, just kill them," and changes their voice, and again the skull brings up a little bit, and that horrible sort of like Joker, like sort of pumpkin style smile, like gets really aggressive. So one of the orbs suddenly gets scared and just basically sacrifices it, like pops, explodes, and it's going to deal 2 damage not only to the fiend but also to Trace. So you instantly get 2 in the explosion. Oh, and minions who die. That's so funny. Minions who die to this also explode. So actually, that's not going to be good for me. But I think so. You will take 2 damage, Trace. This minion next to it will also die, and the fiend takes 4 damage as a result. It's probably not the best thing for me to do. I'm going to up the harm a little bit on mine so that people get a good go. But yeah, that's me not paying attention. That's great.
That's okay. I think Maddy and I have both built support characters. So.
Yeah.
Amazing. So
what happens when you've only got 3 choices?
So I've sacrificed those 2 creatures, which is all good. I now get to recall an event. So choose an event where it happened. Oh, and the individual's caught in a crossfire. Interesting. How were they harmed? I'm gonna. I think. Oh, so I'm gonna an event. Well, I'm gonna choose the Disruption at Blades song, the Founding Parade. And I am going to an individual's caught in the crossfire. Who do we have? Wait, what about this is where Granton fencing master sort of comes into it. I think maybe there was at the parade there was like a that sort of thing where certain factions or individuals sort of come and sort of like showcase their like, we support this and hooray for Blade Song, that sort of thing. I think Granton didn't take a mortal wound, but there was protecting other people, and then again this idea, the popping of these horrific orbs sort of like sparked, and so I think they were actually badly injured as a result. So I'm going to add that on. Not dead, but injured as caught in that crossfire. So I'll just put that as a thing on here. Granton,
Nice.
Injured at parade. Cool. But I won't make that mistake again where I pop my own minions next to me. That's fine. I'm going to up the harm a little bit on me so we get a little bit more. But yes, but then Marjoram, you've done that thing. I've done my response to that. And then, Trace, I believe it's your turn, my friend.
Maddy, on your last go, did you say you gave me 1 approach?
Yes, you can spend 1 approach without using an action until the end of your next turn.
I don't know what that means.
So some of your powers will require approaches to be spent. You've got that. So I think you've got 2, 2, and 2 across the board, right? And so some of your powers might say like you need to spend 3 or something like that. That's what it means. So Maddy's giving you an extra 1 currently. You don't really want to be spending.
I don't think any of mine say that.
Maybe they will later on for your reveal powers.
Yeah. And I might have done it too early, which is my bad.
But this is the thing: we should be building up.
Also, you don't know what my powers are anyway, so you can't be expected to.
No, but you're building up approaches. It's good to be building up approaches now because you need them to spend them later. So you got an extra. What was it, Maddy? You got an extra 1 just now?
Yeah, may spend 1 approach without using an action.
Fair enough. If anything, it looks very flavoursome, very cool. And also, you somehow did get 2 minions to kill themselves. That's brilliant. How did you get to do that, Maddy? So don't worry about it too much, Liv. What would you like to do in your turn?
I would like to shield Marjoram.
Oh, what does that do?
So it says reduce up to a total of my bravery, which is 2, harm to you or 1 adjacent ally until the start of your next turn.
Nice. I like that a lot. I think you seeing these creatures pop a little bit, you're like, oh, my friend, and so that's where you sort of like back a little bit and you do that sort of thing. What does it look like as you do so?
I think it's literally going to be. I think I'm going to turn my back to her. Being that we're sort of kind of surrounded.
Yeah.
But reach back and take her hand and be like, "Don't worry," and just kind of hold my blade in front of me as a barrier.
Oh, that's so cute. I like that.
Or maybe not take her hand because that's probably not very impractical in a fight situation. But like squeeze her wrist or something.
These are anime fights. These things take, you pause, you reflect, you flash back. So yeah, you absolutely take Marjoram's hand. I love that. What's the prompt that you have to do?
My prompt says, recall an event where the evil forces attacked. How did you protect the innocent involved? Okay, so I feel like we need to put the attack on Chanterelle into the timeline.
Yes. Good shout.
So obviously we know that Arabella has sent our squadron off in this direction to help out the village, but unbeknownst, I don't know if we got if she said that they were planning to attack and then gave a date that was too late, or whether she told them to get in early or whatever it was. But I think the attack on Chanterelle happened, and I think probably because of my my background in kind of mercenary work and petty highway robbery and banditry, meant that I'm kind of naturally a bit kind of skittish and looking around all over the place. And so I think probably actually thinking about sort of the last time I was in an ambush situation, but on the other side of it. And so I think I see an archer poking out from between some gills of a giant mushroom and aim at Captain Albie. And I leap across and dislodge him from his cool mount.
He's on a snail, but the snail is actually quite quick because it's in its shell and it's rolling like that. How's that?
Yeah, it's a snail, but it's got actually its 1 foot is like tons of little feet, and they kind of go.
Yeah, so they've all got running shoes on. That's it. Yeah, exactly. Amazing. All right, so I've put that in the timeline after the reveal of Arabella being the betrayer. Is that's where you wanted it?
No, I think it happens before.
Happens before.
It
Amazing.
happens just before, and I think this is possibly what reveals her, because after the ambush, we take one of them captive.
Yes,
and it is revealed that she set up the ambush.
Amazing. Love that. Fantastic. So what we'll say, actually, I think it actually makes sense. So yeah, you do that sort of thing. You sort of heal up and not heal up, but you sort of stand firm. And I think it's interesting because with these creatures, so again, popping and whatnot. Again, she's technically, I will say, her HP according to this is 5. And I was going to up it, but actually, I like what you guys have done. Like, you've gone in and you've like shown I don't want to say the power of friendship, but I like the idea that you're standing firm.
We have sort of shown the power of friendship.
You have showed the power of friendship, but like as a result, she's been very rash. This person's been very rash as a result. The laughing skull. So then these minions have popped off a little bit. So on her turn, what I'm going to say, as sort of before like she takes this sort of like, again, what I'm saying, again, you can see her image, this person's image is sort of like floating, but also but very glitching out a little bit as, again, this damage from the creature. And like that tear that you did trace, it's cutting. It's almost like someone's tearing a piece of paper. And again, it's like, it's like still sort of trying to this horrible grin is sort of laughing at said. So they're going to do 1 turn, and then they're going to fail. They're going to fall this form. So I think I still want to do damage to you folks. That's the thing. It's so tempting with all these things. Sure. I think this creature looks past you, Trace, to Marjoram. And I think what they're going to do the tempt. So it's range 2. So again, it goes over Trace. And this creature, again, sort of locks, this horrific sort of bulbous sort of light eyes locks with your own. And it says, like, why don't you run? This is going to be much worse for you. Run, dance the dance of death. And I'm going to give you a choice, Maddy. Either you may not use your powers in the first turn of the next section, or you take 2 harm to resist this effect.
Do that one, because I'm reducing your harm by 2 anyway.
Yep. Yeah, I was just going to ask, is that harm reduced? And yeah, if that works, that's great.
Perfect. Yeah, I like this because then again, you sort of like it makes sense that you just sort of you sort of feel it in your heart, this sort of like the power, and then suddenly you're like, no, friendship, and you just remain firm and you
You
don't.
feel the grip on your wrist, and
Yeah.
it's
Perfect.
I
grounding
return
you
the
back in the room.
squeeze.
And I think, and then my prompt is for using that power, which did not work, and then therefore will end sort of this turn. Is I have to recall an event that when the fiend deceived or tempted the heroes, and at what cost did they say yes or no? So I'm going to put it to you guys. I don't want to decide whether you said yes or no. Like, I think what we described about the lapping skull is that you would have had an interaction with these minions or something similar, whether both. I'm going to say both together at this point. And do you think when you've met the laughing skull before, when you were deceived through the minions, do you think you said yes or no to that, whatever they were asking of you? If you see what I mean, I'm going to put that to you guys now, and that will help me inform what this event is.
I think if there was some offer of a parlay or some kind of negotiation, I think Marjoram would want to take them up on that because of her belief in goodness and diplomacy and giving people a chance.
Yeah.
And that may have gone horribly wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I think that, obviously it wasn't in the entire lot of the Hell's Teeth that with me. There was definitely others, and they might have followed up. They might have, I must have taken a mount or a carriage or whatever else to take the job that was meant for Trace Bannon. Bannon Trace, sorry. And so I don't say so I think they found out about my deception and found out that I had taken a position that wasn't meant for me, and maybe sold that to the Laughing Skull for a price, and then therefore and then something in the Laughing Skull maybe use that as blackmail material.
So individually, both of you said yes to something that the Laughing Skull then went back on and tempted you. And at what cost? I think whatever it was, whether it was through like your deception of like being revealed of who you were, Trace, or for Marjoram's like, I want this to stop. Like I maybe you gave information about the university, perhaps, or something like, again, just to be like, yes, resources. Again, that whole thing with like Arabella is like sort of like giving resources and that sort of thing. Maybe believing her deception. Maybe that's where it's all sort of come from. Eventually, it's sort of this lead up as someone that you trusted. Certainly the whole world trusted. So I think the harm is that I think everything that you both knew in that moment when this is revealed, this thing. So yeah, I think it's going to the betrayal. I think it's leading on from that. I think maybe you were both in that war council chamber, or maybe a part of it in some way, whether it was Captain Albie in there or not. But I think in that moment, both of you, and maybe it's where you both met for the first time properly. And I think the cost was that you lost everything else, but you didn't lose each other.
Very next thing was going to be to try and have a scene that we're both in, so that we can have met before
Well,
now.
I think you meet through this, and then together, because you've both lost something, and you see it happening, that you know that you can only rely on yourselves, and then hence that power of friendship that we come back to at the beginning. So I think we'll add that in there. Amazing. All right, so of friends. Perfect. All right, so let's then go back to the fight. So this fiend, the lapping skull, does this sort of temptation as a last sort of like attempt before their form itself breaks and shatters like glass. I mentioned that spider thing. You can see these other minions, they're also sort of shaking and using that power of friendship, the shield stuff, as they sort of pop less aggressively than the others, they disappear as well, with leaving the laughing skull there remaining. And you can see that their form is like, again, it's trying to keep themselves together a little bit, again, shifting in and out. You can see it saying phrases before it sort of just crumples to the ground. It's almost like the unraveling of thread, as if someone's just pulled something and it just slowly but surely sort of zips up inside itself as it just pulls down and falls, with then the hands themselves also falling. Like they're actual physical things, almost like bits of metal, almost, is what I imagine. And then the head itself, the lights in the eyes go out and it falls to the ground. And you just hear that sound of chittering still keep going. It's almost as if it reverberates around the Laughing Skull's head before nothing. And you are just stood on the top of this big mushroom building. The sky, again, that sort of unpredictable weather. Maybe there is a storm incoming. You can feel that static in the air as well as the rain starts to fall. And we come out of that first chapter where you've defeated the evil on its first, sort of like the first stage of the fight. We're next going to go to chapter 2, which is recovery. You have a moment where you think you've won. You use the heroes, you like very ably, should I say, maybe no help to the minions at all, have defeated this evil. So you're going to recall an event that will reflect upon the legacies you wish to leave behind, because you feel at this moment that you've done it, you've cracked this evil, like you've got, you've battled those minions, you've come to this point and you've defeated the evil. And the goal of this is simple. I want you to connect and plant the seeds for your legacy. So maybe there's certain powers you might want to use in the final end of the fight or anything like that, so have a think. But to both of you, we'll go one at a time. We'll probably start with Maddy first, if that's okay. I want for you to recall an event when you had an intimate moment with the other hero, sharing your greatest fears or dreams in facing the fiend, the evil. And this is where role play does come into it, if you'd like to. But I want you to, at any point when you're creating this memory or this event, I want you to say, when this is all over, and then go into what you hope for the future.
Can I request to go first?
Of course, yeah, absolutely. If Maddy,
I want to establish something which might affect Maddy's scene.
Sounds good.
Go for it, Lou. What does Trace say?
Okay, so is this happening in the present?
It says here. Let's see. You have a brief period to recover during which they recall events that reflect on it. So it's, I think, you.
Let's recall an event. Okay, yeah. Maddy, how did what circumstance has brought you to, I guess, either whether it's to the Pelinets group, or how did our kind of paths cross, but not kind of back historically, like immediately before this fight, or at least recent past? How did you get here?
I think, well, we met at the war council where Governor was revealed to be evil, and I think that we kind of potentially saw in each other the only people who had the resolve to take action rather than sort of hide or.
So do you think that you came with us?
Yeah.
You've been with us the whole time?
Yeah, I think if I've recognized the Pelinets as a faction that is actually doing something practical to deal with this threat, then I would be like, can I help?
Okay, cool. That's great. So I think my recollection that I'm going to kind of use what you just established, Fiona, about that threat, and potentially with maybe I catch the tail end, or maybe just before this happens, I see somebody I recognize from Hell's Teeth, that talking to the Laughing Skull, who also recognizes me, and I'm sort of there, and we're having like a heated conversation where they kind of realize what's happened and why the hell I'm here, and they call me by my real name.
Ooh.
Which I've thought of
You don't have to say it right now.
obviously.
Don't worry. Don't worry. Yeah, I mean, don't use your real name.
It's definitely there and ready to come out at the right moment.
Exactly. That like a good story always reveals. So don't
Yeah.
worry. Mhm.
And I think Marjoram, when they go away, I kind of turn back around again to sort of go back to the side of Captain Albie, because I've been gone for too long and it'll start being suspicious. And I noticed that Marjoram has overheard, and she doesn't say anything.
Mhm. For sure.
She can see that I'm trying to distance myself, that I'm not Trace, but I prefer myself when I'm Trace. So I want to, and so I think that's the establishment. That's the Marjoram realizing that I'm not, even though I'm not who I said I'm trying to be who I said I am.
Yeah, you're trying to live up to this expectation. Absolutely.
Yeah.
What? Just to check, where does this event come in the timeline? Is this like at the meeting of friends, that sort of thing, or is it a bit before? Like it could be later on towards the final fight.
Well, no, I'm guessing Marjoram must have been at the attack on Chanterelle, because that would have been, that's after the War Council. Where's the War Council?
The War Council's here. It's sort of like here. I'll put it in the thing. So it's like Arabella is revealed. So I'll put the War Council here.
Oh, I thought the War Council happened earlier. Okay.
No, because I think we established that the attack happened, and that's how we revealed the Arabella was.
Yeah, and I think I sort of slightly misunderstood the focus of the War Council. I thought that was happened further back in the timeline that sent everybody out.
We can always add another one. It's fine. I mean, let's face it. There'll be several councils, so it's not the end of the world. We could put that. We could put that earlier. We don't have to put it there, but there's the War Council where.
I mean, that's fine as long as that's been established.
Yeah. So where do you want this then to go? At a War Council meeting. Where would you like that to go with the Trace's name?
Yeah, I mean, it can go. Yeah, it can just kind of go next to the War Council if they're kind of all happening about the same time in history.
Okay, not a problem. I'll move that across then. Ooh, wrong thing.
Just put it like directly underneath because they're happening at the same time.
Same time? Perfect. All right. So then, in that case, if you would like to, you can begin the conversation of like when this is all over. Now that sort of thing, like you having this moment as the fiend, the laughing skull has sort of crushed down, and you've taken that moment to sort of get your breath back. The rain is sort of coming down on this this battlefield where yourself and and Marjoram and the remains of these sort of like minions have popped.
And then kind of just turn around, kind of eyes lowered, like, God, glad that's over, and then just look up and meet your eyes and just look terrified. And just can't speak. It's just like, well, that's it then. That's blown it.
Is there anything you do, Marjoram, when you see your friend, knowing this? Like you probably make the connection of like this is that that's it. But now, who are they? They can they go back to being Trace? Can they hide this? Do you do anything in this moment?
I think I say it doesn't matter who we are born, it's who we choose to be. And you've clearly made a choice.
I thought I did, but I think I told myself that I didn't have a choice, so that it gave me an excuse. But I did. But I also could have made a worse one. Could have just gone back. And I know that it's not like lesser of two evils or not, but I saw I mean, I don't know which of the bodies was Trace. I just went through the bag that looked the nicest. But I think that if Captain Albie wanted them, then they must have been good. And so I thought that that sounded better than being me. Are you going to tell?
No. That's your secret to tell whenever you're ready.
Okay. So, Trace, you gain 1 approach of your choice. So add that to where you'd like to. And then I'm going to turn over to Marjoram for you to recall an event as well. Again, you are seeing Trace, the person that you know as Trace, and has always been Trace in your eyes, have this sort of confession, this worry to you. What do you do? You know, after sort of comforting them. What do you think you'd do, I guess, with the, you know, the fiend seems to be defeated just now. You have this chance, like, you've done it. It was really easy. I can't believe they used their minions to kill themselves.
Weird, right?
Weird. As if someone doesn't do tactical combat that often.
Yeah. I think there's a pause, and then Marjoram says, "Do you think we did the right thing?"
We're killing the big baddie. Yeah. Or unless you're talking about something different, that seemed pretty good to me.
Well,
I mean, we didn't do a lot. This seemed to mostly self-sabotage. I thought it was going to be harder, not going to lie.
You want to search into a world of pain when I come back.
No shade. No shade.
Well, I've built my whole life around the idea of forgiveness and redemption and seeing the good in people who everyone else turns away from. And it feels like a betrayal of my own beliefs to suddenly proclaim that this one individual isn't worth that same grace.
I mean, it seems to me that it's a bit like what you said to me a long time ago now. It's about choices. And you've chosen to live your life with integrity, and like you said, and I chose something not necessarily honourable, but with good intentions. But the Laughing Skull chose to sow dishonesty and fear and try and make everything worse for everybody. I mean, I can't say that I've not acted selfishly. I've acted pretty selfishly my entire life, but the person it sabotaged most of all was me most of the time. But the Laughing Skull was acting in a way that was deliberately harming other people with everything that they did, and that was their choice. And you shouldn't have to feel like you've done something wrong because of someone else's choice.
And do I need to create an event that's kind of related to this?
You can do, yeah. And like I said, like if you go when this is all over, like we can go do X or something like that. That's what I'm sort of thinking of. But it can be anything you want, whatever you think is appropriate in the moment.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I think Marjoram sort of sighs and sits down cross-legged on this massive fungal platform, sort of looking at the remnants of the enemies, and says, "When this is all over, I think I need to extend the same grace that I give other people to myself."
Wow. I like that. I like that a lot. Maybe you're thinking of like that particular bit where you had the meeting with the college when you're bringing these things up, and they're like, "We can't do anything," and you being fired or let go or whatever. But maybe not realizing that maybe those people weren't in a position to fight. Perhaps maybe the influence some taken against their will, and maybe every interaction you've had with the university, as all universities, as we discover, lots of different sort of chains and bits of focus and all that sort of thing, and maybe understanding from other people's points of view that we can't radicalize and change things just because of one thing, even though it was very clearly that this person was evil and this whole thing was evil. We shouldn't be letting this stuff sort of in. So yeah, I think that's cool. We'll take it to that particular event. You can also take another approach, so add one to one of your approaches. And I think as you're both sort of again in the rain, as it's sort of coming down, as like there's that smell of like petrichor as the rain hits the mushroom top and then the soil underneath it, and it's sort of a light sort of relief in a way that this fight could have been really tough, super tough and super tactical. And then again, maybe the rain is quite cold, and you're sort of like shivering a little bit, and you each think the other person's teeth is chattering.
Oh no!
When in fact, you realise the chattering is not coming from either of you, but it's coming from the sort of the pile, the sort of the fabric and the head of the laughing skull. And as you sort of both turn, maybe at this point, Marjoram, for strategic tactical reasons, you get up off the floor.
Yeah, pretty quickly.
Pretty quickly, getting both of you swords and rapiers in hand, as suddenly this almost like as if like a silk scarf being pulled up into form, 7-8 feet tall, is just the laughing skull again. This time though, the sort of skull face, this sort of the sort of metal helmet almost, much bigger and a bit more warped perhaps, but the body again, I'm thinking more like a chess piece perhaps, long, sort of queen like, and its hands is like oh, good round for the first dance. Why don't we spice this up a little bit? And we go into chapter 3, which is rebellion. This evil's power is truly revealed. It is back, and you've only had a time to briefly sort of get your breath back. You don't heal up or anything, as this creature still, it hasn't moved. Actually, you know what? No, it's going to move tactically a little bit further away from Trace, for reasons. As it sort of appeals up, you get the hands sort of come to it, sort of doing these very big flourishes, and as it sort of goes, various sort of static sort of jumps between the hands. It's almost like you're doing playing cards, sort of. The fight is going to continue, and only by discovering the evil's weaknesses can future heroes possibly defeat this evil. And as you continue to fight, you must seek and reveal these weaknesses, preserving this knowledge before you perish. You could probably tell as this creature, this laughing skull, appears, that the mushroom that you're sort of standing on, the sort of roof, is suddenly sort of goes down a bit, as if a big weight has just been put on top of it. You can sort of see the indentation of this quite heavy sort of creature now has appeared on top. Actually, more of these hands start to appear, like almost like these magician's hands around it, sort of circling it up. The evil, funnily enough, gains a new power. Yes, and 1 new shift in addition to the previous powers and shifts. You also get what we'll say for time. Normally, you would get another 2 legends. I'm going to leave you with the ones that you've got because I think those would be good enough to concentrate on for now. You may continue to deal harm to this creature, but it's clear that your powers are going to be significantly reduced because it's sort of come back into this new form. Instead, when it takes harm, I'm going to create a clock, a weakness clock. We're going to add up the damage there. And then if you wish to use one of your reveal powers to reveal a weakness, we're going to roll a d6. And if it's equal to or under what weakness what the clock is, then that weakness has been revealed, and we can go from there. You will then need a power to preserve it. You need to use when you use a preserve power, that is going to be the ultimate sacrifice for your hero. One thing I will say, and I might not do it for this fight because I appreciate we're wary of time and stuff like that, is that usually at the end of each round, the weakness clock resets itself, which sounds really cruel when there's only 2 of you.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. So I'm not going to reset it just yet. I think I'll do it at an opportune moment. Maybe I'll use one of my turns to reset it, or at least reduce it down by 1 or something like that. Just because there's only 2 of you going from that side of the spot, I'm just going to make that home ruling just now. But in front of you stands the sort of reformed laughing skull. Again, this sort of like laughing, this chittering noise, and again, this sort of light sparking up. And before you act, it's gonna, where should we put these gates? I'm gonna put a gate, one next to Trace, and one maybe. We'll put one next to Marjoram as well. So what happens is, again, these hands, they also clap in front of this creature. Again, one at the top, one in the middle, one at the bottom, almost like as a sort of like seismic power starts. And next to you, Trace, and next to you, Marjoram, these portals sort of open. Sort of like, again, think proper like, that looks like a dangerous thing right next to you. And next to these portals, again, these sort of like flashing of light and sparks of energy, and the noise they make as they appear, almost like tearing through bits of reality. Along with them, 2 minions appear, one next to each gate as well. And we'll put it here. And the laughing skull sort of like the hands come down again, that horrible sort of pumpkin smile, grins, its sort of head turns around like a full 360 in front of it as it's sort of like bouncing along, and it goes, "Your move, let's dance," and the fight begins. So you got these 2 gates essentially that are marked in these 2 areas. They can't be moved at all, and you don't know what else they do currently. But who would like to go first? We've got Trace and Marjoram, sort of one behind each other, still in that sort of formation. You've got these 2 minions next to you, and then the fiend, the laughing skull, a little bit ahead of you in that second column.
Just to clarify powers, we can still use our core powers.
Yep.
We've got our reveal powers.
That will reveal a weakness. Yep.
Yeah.
And then you have
we've
legacy
got
powers. Yeah.
Yeah. And they're what happens at the end. So we're not going to be using them yet.
So ideally, you should be doing damage to this creature to reveal a weakness. So probably using your core power, and then the reveal the weakness. It's like a 1-2 punch. So you've got to do some harm, reveal the weakness, and then preserve the weakness. Yep. And on your turn, you can do 2 actions. You can move, and you can use one of your powers. You cannot use the same power in the same. Like you can't use 2 powers. Actually, yeah.
And we can move up to our haste. Is that?
I believe so. I think for you, yes, I believe so. Well, I think no, you move. Sorry, you move 1. But I think you've got a special power that you can charge, right?
Yeah, but I wasn't going to use that. Maddy, I really hope you've got some preserving weaknesses powers, because both of mine are seeking.
Let's see. I've got seek and I've got seek. Yeah.
Yay!
You will both have
both built support characters.
You'll both have a reveal, and you will both have a preserving powers. So you both have a reveal and a legacy power, so you will be able to do it.
Oh, to be fair, one of my legacy powers is preserved.
Yeah, the legacy, basically anything that's a legacy means that it's the big shot, we have to do this, and your character
Yeah.
will perish as a result of it. So you will definitely have one of those, and you will have
Yeah. Yeah, I've got 2 legacy powers and 2 reveal powers. So
yeah. It gives you a
Yeah.
choice of how you would like your character to go out. That's what it was sort of saying from that point.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right, but the battlefield is set.
All right. I believe that when I used my Empower core power, I triggered an upgrade. Um,
Mhm.
and I can't remember if I had been hurt when I used that.
You were not hurt because you were further. Hang on, where was this? Sorry, this is in your devout or.
Yes, I think I probably wasn't hurt at this point because when you use Empower, you heal 1, so I think that doesn't apply. But I do gain 1 approach,
Okay,
and I put it in haste so that I
great.
would be able to use my Whirlwind Strike
Yes.
reveal power, which costs 3 haste.
Yep.
And so I can move 2 and deal 1 harm for each space I moved this round.
Yep.
Um,
So where are you going?
so I am going to go.
You're gonna just go straight for the Laughing Skull.
Yes, if I can, if it's okay to move through Trace's space.
Yeah, I'm gonna say you can do that because again I've bunched you all up, but I think this is because I think you're maybe still tempted from that previous thing, like that whole thing you were like no, and then you're like no, I'm gonna take this one for Trace, so I'm gonna let you move through Trace because you're moving straight up. So yeah, you move Trace, you feel this sort of push.
We might have to do a couple of house rules on moving because you're not allowed to move through people and you're not allowed to move diagonally. But I also can't move anywhere apart from 1 space if I can't move diagonally.
Yeah,
and I can only move 1.
yeah, that's
so.
Yeah, I'm gonna say
Yeah.
for now because again I'm thinking of time and stuff like that. So yeah, Marjoram, you sort of rush through, pushing Trace out the way to do your Whirlwind Strike. So yeah, you do.
Hey.
So you've moved 2 spaces. So you do 2 damage. So the weakness clock is at 2, and then we're going to seek a weakness. So I want you to, and I want you to roll that d6 and see if you can get the weakness.
All right.
So 2 or below, you receive.
That's a 2.
Wow, amazing. So you're going to seek a weakness. So first of all, we're going to recall the event. So recall an event when you directly face the evil. What lasting mark did the encounter leave on you?
I think that let me just have a look at the timeline. I think that after the meeting of friends, there was a confrontation where I think maybe we didn't expect to come across the Laughing Skull, but we were surprised, and I think I'm going to go literal for this one. I think Marjoram has a cool scar now, just like a cool sort of right across one cheek and kind of leading into the side of the mouth. And so
Nice.
Yeah, I think that's essentially what happened.
So would you say, I'm guessing looking at our location, so do you think this was still in the village? Do you think it was in or was it just along the road? Like what are you thinking? Like let's add a bit more to this.
Yes. I think maybe in the capital. Maybe
Okay,
we were
the Blade
trying
Song?
to maybe we were trying to find allies in Blade Song, and
Ooh,
we
interesting.
went down the wrong dark alley, and
I think, yeah, I can imagine after such a war council where there's a betrayer that's been found, that maybe then it's like we need to regroup somewhere, and maybe thinking about your Granton as well. You hear about Granton being injured as well, so maybe you go to see their house or something like that, and then something's not quite right. Because Chime is there. So this is me making all the connections. Chime is there and not Granton. And maybe suddenly Chime is revealed, this disguise is revealed to be the Laughing Skull. And for whatever reason, you just so happened upon this particular space. So, and it's that sort of thing where maybe you're sort of taken aback, you get your sword ready to attack, and it's just more of a, again, this hand just comes across and sort of like this horrible sort of nails sort of like grab you a little bit before it just disappears, like floats out of the window, perhaps, as it's sort of like you've sort of taken on it. Maybe the Laughing Skull came to finish the job of Granton. Maybe there's, again, we can put some sort of maybe backstory into like this university stuff. Maybe he opposed your dismissal, that sort of thing on there. So that's, I think we can do that. But yeah, I really like that as a result. So we have a weakness exposed as a result, thanks to that amazing sort of quick sort of whirlwind strike. Maddy, I would love for you to roll me a d6 and then halve it and tell me what the number is that you get, and that will determine what weakness has been shown.
Ooh, I got a 6 to halve for 3.
3, okay. So the weakness that I'm going to reveal to you is that this particular creature, this fiend, had a mortal love. So despite all their temptation, the fiend genuinely cared for someone. Choose a faction to be their secret partner. Describe the token carried by the fiend that has revealed their hidden affection to you. So let's see what our factions are. I think... choose a faction. Mortal faction. I think we should go for the Pelanet household. I'm going to choose that, and I am going to describe a token. I'm not going to, so that's not adding anything to the timeline. So I think what happens is that you come around with this whirlwind strike, sort of again very anime style, pushing past through. Again, you feel these gates next to you sort of like exploding a little bit in static, and you go and you hit. And as this creature sort of like the hands sort of come up, you cut one of the hands down, and on it you see there is a maybe the symbol of the Pelanet household on it. And so you realize that a signet ring, perfect, absolutely. You see this sort of signet ring, and again, this hand has sort of been damaged by the cut, and you can see it's still there, and that whoever this person was originally belonged to the household of the Pelanets. So it's all sort of connected, and now it makes sense why Arabella probably was trying to was forwarding that agenda, so to speak, because she is part of the net of the Pelanets as well. That is your turn. It is now my go as the Laughing Skull. I am going to. Interesting. What am I going to do? I think. Because I am now far enough away. I'm going to, again, the hands go. You fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice. Hands clap again, and the minion closest to Trace explodes. And you will take 2 damage, Trace, as that minion explodes next to you. Choose an event where this happened, and of course, crossfire. Well, probably won't do that. That just makes it easier. So yeah, this idea of another minion explodes, and again, maybe you were both there at the parade for whatever reason, and again, just the shouts and screams of people running as the carnage of the parade starts to break up. But yeah, you take that damage. It is now your turn, Trace. You can see that your friend has made some headway and has done damage, but it feels like it's not as powerful, as impactful as the stage before the initial beginning of the fight. What would you like to do?
I would like to use force them back.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know whether I want to move first, because there's nowhere I can really move to.
You can move 1 and then do your action. What does force them back do?
So it's costs 3 bravery, and has a range of 1. So I'd need to be next to.
Yes, unfortunately, yeah. You can't move diagonally.
Yeah. But Maddy moved against the rules.
Yeah, but then you'd be in Maddy's space, unfortunately.
Not if I move diagonally.
What are you trying to do? Let's do it like that. I want to say yes and. What are you trying to do? Tell me what you're trying.
So my force them back power is if your target is an enemy and the target collides with another enemy or the edge of the battlefield, they both take harm equal to the amount of spaces moved.
Ah,
So,
I see.
so my original plan, until that minion exploded themselves, was to push the minion into a gate.
Oh, cool.
And see if that did anything. But again, I think I would have had to have moved diagonally to do that as well. So
well, no, let's take it back because yes. So the minion next to you, you just still. How about I switch this around? So that minion that was next to you doesn't explode, but the minion behind you does explode. Because then you can still attack the one that comes up. If you see what I mean. So you still take the damage and stuff, but it just depends on where. So that the one behind you explodes, and you still get hit in the back as the minion sort of explodes. So you would still be able to push that minion. Again, it's sort of almost like a sweeping rush into the gate. So I'd let you do that.
Okay. All right. So so both the gate and the minion would take harm equal to the amount of spaces moved, which is only 1.
Okay. Yeah. Well, certainly the minion will definitely die, for sure.
And then seek a weakness. Recall an event where you targeted an ally of the evil. How did you destroy, disarm, or convince them to join your side?
So you're going to seek a weakness. So you've not done any damage to the particular fiend, but you can still seek a weakness. So you can still roll that to.
Yeah, because this one's about because I thought I'd do this one because this is about targeted an ally of the evil. So I thought if I attacked an ally of the evil, it would all work thematically.
No, I love it. So yeah, roll that 1d6. See if you can get a 1 or 2.
1 or 2. A 5.
Unfortunately, not. Again, I guess you're trying to ease the battlefield, so you're not going to be swarmed by these creatures, so you do not expose another weakness. But describe that event that you're trying to recall.
I think I'm going to have an event that is directly after the event where Marjoram learnt my real name.
Yeah.
And I think that I think I'm panicking a little bit now because there's now just too many loose ends. And so a bit of me, the bad bit of me that has been a bandit for a long time, wants that loose end to be getting rid of it, as the marjoram to be the loose end that is gotten rid of, because they're the one that is closest to all the people that could do me the most harm. But then has a change, a thought of it. It thinks back to the conversation that they had and sort of trying to be better, and so sort of dismisses that and goes after the retreating Hell's Teeth and Laughing Skull agent. Kind of slips away to dispatch them before they can leave Selasi.
Interesting. So where does that come exactly on the timeline? Sorry, just so I've got this.
So directly after the reveal of Trace's real name.
I see. Yeah.
Because they leave straight from
I see.
there.
Yeah.
Think about dealing with Marjoram and like, no, trust Marjoram. That's going to be fine. Keeping them there and actually going to get rid of the bad loose ends rather than the good ones.
Gets rid of the bad loose ends. All right, sounds good.
I'll definitely know what that means in 2 rounds' time.
Oh, you better. You better. All right, I'm gonna pop that here next week. All right. So yeah, you dispatch one of these other minions. Again, that's sort of like again as you sweep in the minion into the gate doesn't disappear, but there's a horrible sort of like screech as almost like a record a vinyl being stopped, so to speak, and there's again a horrible static sound. Again, maybe you scrunch up your ears a little bit as you're like, these gates are not great. You don't like the sound of these gates at all. But unfortunately, no more weaknesses exposed. This the Laughing Skull goes again, and I've got smoke and mirrors. Should I use smoke and mirrors? I think I'm gonna do, yeah, might as well use smoke and mirrors. I've got my new power. So the creature, this Laughing Skull sort of bends over almost comically, so like its head all the way down, seeing Marjorie is like, oh, so sad. Well, never mind. Let's take a turn about the dance floor. And it disappears. It sort of shifts and changes and like almost like a whirlwind, like almost disappears and suddenly appears next to one of the gates. It's going to appear next to this gate at the top, so it's in the top row, 4 columns along. So it's moved around the battlefield. And I will recall an event where the heroes had the evil or one of their allies cornered. What secret or misconception allowed them to narrowly escape? I think, again, that sort of idea of the loose ends. I think that Trace, you're sort of like bearing down, and maybe Marjorie as well, like trying to find out, like wheedle out, and maybe going towards this confrontation with the Laughing Skull at Granton's as well. I think it's that same effect that you see, this sort of like this turning of stuff, like again maybe in the parade. Let's do it at the parade as well. When you're sort of seeing these things happening and you're trying to like fend off creatures, they just like you go to like stick your rapier through one, and it's just fabric. It turns out it's just like a dummy or something like that. So it's all this idea of illusion, deception, and it's just again that horrible chattering of teeth that sort of comes from it. And again, as if a big joke has been played on you, a big prank has been played on you. So I'm going to put that there so that these minions, this sort of illusionary minions at disappearing. Great. All right. End of the turn is the shift. And the shift. What we're going to do for the shift? I've technically already done it, haven't I? I've done that gate thing. I'll tell you what. I will just summon. I'm going to just summon some more minions. Oh, that's really fun, isn't it? Hooray! More minions for you to deal with. I'm going to put them close to the gates, though. All right. They sort of pop out these horrific sort of like, again, the static and whatnot. It's sort of like, again, a horrible screeching noise of like nails on a chalkboard mixed with that sound of a vinyl screeching as these creatures start to come up. Back to the top of the round. It is, I'm not going to reset the weakness clock, but anyone can go. It is your turn.
I would like to use a seek weakness power called Change Perspective.
What does that do?
It move to any open space on the battlefield at any time before the end of the round. You may return to your original position along with any hero within range 1. Seek a weakness. Recall an event shortly before another event. What did you secretly change to gain an advantage over the evil?
Okay. Well, let's do the first bit first. So, where are you moving to, and are you taking Trace with you?
Yes, I think we're within range of each other. I'm gonna put us directly next to the Laughing Skull.
All right. I'm going to say, Marjorie, you're on the left, and then do you want Trace behind you, or next to the gate?
I think next to the gate. I think.
All right. So Trace, you sort of feel this sort of pull as whether Marjorie has you by the hand, or just again you just feel compelled to follow. So you are currently, in these new positions next to gate, on the other side of where this minion has popped out from. All right. And then Seek a Weakness was your plan?
Yes.
All right. Well, let's. It's not taking any damage, so it's still a 2. So roll the d6.
5.
5. Unfortunately, again, maybe you get a bit distracted. You're trying to get into position. You can see this creature again. The sort of way it warps around and stuff like that. You can't see any vulnerabilities at all. So no more exposed things. But you still have the weakness exposed from before. This idea of the hand with the signal, the signet ring on it. All right.
And so I need to recall an event directly before another event.
Mhm.
And what did I secretly change to gain advantage over the evil?
Mhm.
Ooh.
I mean, you could do something in front of the final fight, even.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I think
Mhm.
I will do that. I think that I have set a trap on a part of the battlefield.
Ooh, nice.
That if the laughing skull goes onto it, will fall into a pit.
Nice.
Just your classic spiked pit, maybe with some sort of magical or poisonous enhancements, and it would have to be one that we haven't been on before, so it would probably be in the bottom left corner of the battlefield.
I'm going to say, because I realised what the time is, we'll finish up this round and then we'll go to the sort of epilogue. So again, I don't want to take up too much more of your time. I think you could just have it there where the creature's gone to. And like, it's very close by. So I think go for it.
Sweet, perfect.
Yeah. Does anything happen with that trap at all? Does it, when it goes off or anything? Does it say anything? Is that of interest? Because what I'd say it happens, we can redo that secret weakness roll again. But I think whatever the poison, whatever, maybe there's some sort of spark comes up, so sort of like area of effect, like spores. Maybe this is like a death cat sort of mushroom, and then this sort of comes up. So it's like surrounded in this horrible poison, but then as a result, it takes another bit of damage as a result. So I can give it up to another damage. So it's actually on a 3 rather than a 2.
Ooh, that would be, if that is possible, then that would be great.
I am doing that. So yeah, so just re-roll that thing, because again, it's now moved to this place, and then you've set off the trap. I'll let you do that. Yeah, absolutely.
Sweet. 5 again.
I mean, I am trying to help you guys.
Yeah. That would have been so cool if I'd rolled a 3 or a blower, but sadly
it's
not.
all good, unfortunately. So that's your turn. You've recalled the memory, you've set off the trap. That's fine. It's my go to go next as the fiend. I'm just gonna bring some more minions out. You're starting to see this field starting to swarm a little bit. So we're gonna have one that's gonna come down by this gate, closest to you guys, and then one that's gonna come down by the gate there. So you can suddenly, as you sort of look back and where you were previously, Trace, another minion, this horrible orb, has appeared. Great. Trace, what would you like to do with your turn?
So am I only going to get this turn?
I'm going to say yes, because I'm just aware of time, and I appreciate it's quite late where you guys are.
Yeah. So I need to try and preserve its weakness then, really, don't I?
You can do it. You don't have to, because what I can do is that we can always talk about the fight as it goes on, and then say how you go out in the big battle, but using your powers, etc. You just won't preserve any more weakness. So it's completely up to you. I don't want to force you to use the preserved weakness if you'd rather do something else. I'm just aware of time. That's all.
So my red right hand legacy power feels more fitting, but the mythical treasure one is the only one that I get to preserve a weakness. But I just don't feel like I've established anything enough to.
Just what does your gut say? Don't worry about the story. We can make it work. What's your gut saying, Lou?
My gut, but I'm trying to sort of work out in one scene where everybody else went. like it's just
Mhm.
Marjoram and
You.
Trace
Yeah.
left.
Mhm.
So I wanted to sort of try and establish a immediately before this
Mhm.
scene
Mhm.
where something happened to everybody else. I don't know if they all died or if some of them escaped but got routed or got captured or something, which
Mhm.
meant that it was just the two of us left.
Yeah. I mean, for ease, I could say that when you passed a certain barrier to get up to this thing, maybe the mushrooms or the fungi prevented anyone else from getting in, and maybe there's fights happening down below. Maybe you can hear shouts of these chattering minions being popped up everywhere, so that's why you guys are alone. That's my suggestion. Um,
Yeah.
Yeah.
My initial thought would be just like the surrounding area is overrun with minions and everyone else needs
it's
to
it's either
protect
falling
the
back,
townsfolk.
yeah, it's either falling back or they're engaging there. They don't have to have died or anything like that.
Yeah.
Just
No,
duty.
that's fine. I think as well, kind of, I thought in my head that I was building up to there being a sort of big pre-confrontation where I was going to kill off Captain Albie, but the relationship that we've developed that I feel like isn't earned had been developed enough where I wanted to avenge him.
Yeah. Again, you could always say you could always say he has died. Like again, it's your character. You've brought that in, so I'm happy for you to do that. If that's something that you think is important, we can always add another.
I think it is
Right.
important, but it just doesn't fit with any of my powers.
But we could just add it in. It doesn't matter. Like again, this is us working together to create the story, so that we can say that he maybe died at the council meeting, for example.
No, I
Maybe
think he died immediately before here. I think
yeah,
I think we've had him
yeah,
all the
maybe
way through, and
sure.
he's kind of
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
and also I think he died not knowing the truth, and I feel terrible about that.
Perfect. Great. Absolutely. So let's say Captain Albie died just before uh just before the final fight. Whatever
Yeah,
that means.
maybe we're all sat at the camp, and we're all planning on hitting the fiend's the location
Hmm.
tomorrow, and there's there's an assassin in the night, or there's a something that happens which means that the kind of the time I had allotted to have that conversation is no longer mine.
Hmm. Okay. That's fine. All right.
um and then my red right hand
Hmm.
power, it says, who are you to seek redemption? You've ruined this life for both yourself and others. The least you can do is ruin the life of someone who deserves it.
Hmm.
You mark the evil with your final attack, exposing its blind spots or hindering it for the duration of the final fight.
Hmm.
And so, which
And
again is not very helpful, but I just felt like it was more thematically
I love
appropriate.
it. I think no,
Um,
it's perfectly helpful because every time the hero deals harm to the evil or
evil
the
or
evil
the evil,
moves, he'll
the
take
evil take
harm.
one's harm.
So that's great. It at least it will do anything. It would, yeah, if we're doing a longer fight, it will always have 2 on the weakness clock as a result. So that's a great sort of thing. So this is so I'm guessing this, yeah. So describe this attack that you do. This sort of thing where you give your final stand as Marjoram sort of like pulls you behind. What do you do?
Um, I think as she pulls me behind, just look back at the map. Yeah, as she pulls me behind. Oh, I know what I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put my hand on her shoulder from behind so that she sort of thinks, oh, okay, I've got your back,
Mhm.
but kind of wiggle around her,
Mhm.
and I want to grab the fiend and pull her into the gate.
Oh, amazing. That's really cool. Yeah, you realize you've seen what happens when these things go into the gate. Perfect. And so you're burdened because you're confronting that past crimes. Let's go back to that memory then quickly. You have this maybe a final like quick chat with Captain Albie before suddenly the camp is overrun with these Zor creatures, and you just see him being taken out by something. What is it? What is it that you say to him? Do you think, or what is it that you need to say?
Yeah, I don't think I get to say anything, and I think that's the thing that's kind of just lodged in my heart. That I don't get to say it.
Yeah.
And so maybe I'm kind of almost stood over him, just being like, trying to talk to him, and he's just not there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah.
It's kind of heartbreaking to see someone who'd given all this trust to you, and you don't think it's earned per se, even though you've done so well to be like the perfect sort of like bodyguard and go up to the values of the household, and that he never knew. And that's the one thing you wish you could say to him, but then he died right in front of you, and you couldn't do anything about it, and it hurt.
Yeah.
And
now I'm gonna die. And now I'm going to die directly in front of the only person who does know the truth. So that's my confrontation.
What do you think your final words are, if any, to Marjoram?
I'm gonna say for Trace.
Oh.
And for Captain Albie.
Beautiful. And I think as well, the reason this sort of cements and preserves the weakness of the mortal faction of the Pelennets is that I think as you give this, Marjoram, you are holding in your hand, like Trace gave to you the signet ring. Like, I think you picked it up as you left and gave it there. So you know that one of the big weaknesses of the Laughing Skull is its connection to the Pellennet household. As a result, and so you preserve that weakness. Really good. Being aware of time, and that we've lost one of our heroes now in an amazing blaze of glory. We won't describe any more weaknesses. I think I just want to leave it to you, Maddy. How do you think Marjoram is defeated? I guess I wanted to give you that moment so we can talk about it, and then we can go into the epilogue.
I think I'll use one of my powers as an inspiration for how I'm defeated.
Yeah,
called The Lies We Tell. So things don't have to be real to be true. Your words fool even the evil who immediately strikes you down. What do you say to cause the evil to doubt? And I confront my burden. So I think I say, even if the good in you is so deeply buried, the good that is in the hearts of every single other denizen of this country, of this world, will overpower you and will not let you take away their inherent divinity.
I think, again, if you allow me, Maddy, I don't want to. I think these words. I think because there's been a lot of I think with that harm that both you did with the spore thing, even again, it's that in its face sort of thing, and with Traces, like again, the creature, the Laughing Skull, didn't go through the gate, but the impact of it did damage. So honoring that harm, and every time again this fight is continuing, it is taking more and more damage. It doesn't, it's getting there, but it's still not falling. And I think what it does is sort of like looks to you as you say these words, Marjoram, this Laughing Skull, and it is just cackling itself, and it goes, "Well, it's time to end this little dance. Bon voyage!" and pushes you off the roof as you fall, and again we don't see it, but you hit the ground. And in the conclusion, into the epilogue of the game, so you did preserve one weakness. So the future heroes will have one opportunity to fully defeat the evil, but it'll be a sprint to secure the weakness before the evil can neutralize it. And again, because we're not playing through chapter 4, there was no harm. So it actually, the evil recovers quite quickly from this fight. Like, it's injured from the harm that you folks have been doing it. And that one weakness is probably enough. I think, again, we'd maybe see a close-up of Marjorum's hand holding the signet ring. And so when the forces come to recover your body, Marjoram, and see no sign of Trace, almost ironically, I feel like Trace, you don't find any sign of them. But they have this power. So,
without.
but they go, well, who is this signet ring from? And I think that's what the hope is for this, is that you're able to, whilst there's the evil itself continues to grow and corrupt these villages, these buildings that sort of almost become more dance-like, more ballroom-like. We as a group get to choose a faction and a location that survives to the next generation. So what do we think is like important to the story? So if we were going to do a big campaign of this, where do we think would 2 key elements would be from this? Our options quickly are Lacey, the Chandrael village, Bladesong. Those are our locations. We've got the Pelanet household, the Corindon University, and the Hell's Teeth gang. I mean, someone in me goes, I'd love to see the Hell's Teeth gang appear again.
Yeah. Yeah, my instinct would be the Hell's Teeth gang and the capital. I feel like it would be difficult for the Laughing Skull to take down like the most powerful city in the country, and maybe the Hell's Teeth gang. Yeah, they're largely focused on survival, I would guess. So they managed to survive to the next stage, but then perhaps that leaves them as the unlikely heroes of the next generation.
I mean, they might become the Robin Hood of all this stuff.
Maybe they do. Maybe they have to stop being so self-serving.
Wow.
Being the last option.
There you go. Oh, well done, team. I know it was a bit of a rush to the end there, but well done. That is our quick playthrough of Prequel, the storytelling tactical game of heroic sacrifice. I'll go back to the main player overgame. Well done, team. Oh, well done. I know it's a bit different to what we normally do. Very much appreciate your time. If you, I would love for you guys, again, quickly, because I appreciate time. If we go back around, so starting with Lou this time, and then Maddy, and then we'll end with myself, to just do some outros where we can find you on the internet and whatnot, and if there's anything you'd like to plug, starting with the wonderful Lou, who gave their life in sacrifice in a very cool way. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, no worries. Okay, yeah. So I have been, will be, and for time, Lou Fryer. You can find me on the internet at I am Lou Fryer, and you can find me popping up in various things. I don't know how many of them have been announced, so I don't really know what to plug. So just look out for stuff on socials, I guess. Yeah, I don't really know what else to say.
No, that's all good. I'm glad to have you here, Lou.
Thank you for having me.
No worries. Check out on Blue Sky, I'm sure, and on the link tree in the chat as well. That's where we can find more about Lou's work as well. Maddy, please.
Yes, I have been Maddy Searle. You can find me on Blue Sky and Instagram at Maddy is Abstract, and you can also find me over on the RP Geeks channel tomorrow, I believe, playing Paranoia Valentine's Edition.
I'm so excited.
So I'm gonna be cutthroat. I'm going to be going for the rose. I'm going to be going for the win. No one can stop me. And if they can stop me, it will be very entertaining. So yeah, I look forward to it. And I believe Fiona will also be joining for that as well.
I will be down for that. Yes, no, I'm looking forward to that as well. Yeah, thank you so much, Maddy. Yes, and go check out Maddy's work as well. Their link is also in the chat. And yeah, finally, my name is Fiona. I use she, her pronouns, and this has been What Am I Rolling, which is a twice monthly tabletop RPG one-shot podcast where we do lots of different systems and try them out. I also host the DM's Book Club, which is a weekly book club podcast talking about some Dungeons & Dragons. Where we discuss it and improve it, because we read the books so you don't have to. I'm also an improviser and podcaster and voiceover person. You can find all my stuff again in the link in the chat when my keyboard decides to work. I would love for folks to keep an eye out on the Wear socials and also my socials as well for more live streams happening up. We're just showing up some details of some others coming soon, so keep an eye out for that. Please go check out Prequel. I think we had a lot of fun here today, just checking things out. And yeah, my big thing is I love games that talk about world building and creating stuff. And I think we create a really fun world. I mean, I can't wait to play a campaign where we have mounts that aren't horses, and the creativity of what was that, and also having mushroom buildings. That sounds bloody cool. So I'm very glad that we had a big fight on the top of a mushroom building. So yeah, go check out our affiliate link. It's in the chat just now. And in the time when we're supposed to be a bit more loud about games, let's go be loud about games. So yeah, please go check out. There's funding for a few more days. Amazing. I think that is everything. Thank you folks so much for watching. I'm going to wave awkwardly at the camera along with the other two wonderful cast until I find the end of stream button. Thank you so much, friends. Until the next time, goodbye.
Goodbye.